The process of restoring Alabama to the nation's elite begins tonight in Tuscaloosa as the Crimson Tide plays host to Western Carolina. Welcome to Crimson Tide Pay-Per-View along with Tyler Watts. I'm Chris Stewart. So glad to have you with us. Tyler, the last time we were in this stadium, 92,000 plus were here. Several thousand others got turned away. That was for a scrimmage. No surprise, this place is at a fever pitch.
And we finally get to play an opponent here. You know, in the state of Alabama, the buildup has been extraordinary throughout the entire season as well as preseason camp. And here we are, the first day of September. We finally get some competition here at Bryant-Denny.
What a tough task for the Western Carolina University Catamounts, a team that went winless last year in the Southern Conference, a 1AA member. That Tyler will have a youngster at quarterback, a junior, but Todd Spencer has never been in an environment like he'll be in tonight. The
transfer from Cincinnati has done an outstanding job. He had a tremendous spring practice as well as preseason camp, and the coaches are really high on this young man.
The top returning tackler, though, Morty Arnguze, as you can see, though, not dressed for this ball game tonight. He is being held out for unspecified reasons by head coach Kent Briggs. For the Alabama Crimson Tide, they have a couple of players that will not be available, but two that are. Two youngsters, two freshmen, Terry Grant on the offensive side, Rolando McClain defensively, called on for key roles in this one and throughout the year.
Terry Grant is a guy that has really come on strong here of late. Of course, last year sidelined because of injury. Had an outstanding spring, is doing a great job so far. Look for Alabama to use him in a lot of different ways coming out of the backfield.
We've got a different look to this Alabama defense and a different look on the sidelines as well. Looks pretty good to us. Barry Krause, one of Alabama's all-time greats. Welcome to the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
Hi, Chris. You're talking about a defense that these Alabama fans aren't used to. You're talking about a 4-3 type of defense, 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers. Well, this year, Kevin Steele's the new defensive coordinator. He's coming at you with 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers. The whole idea is to get pressure on the quarterback, make those linebackers come from all different areas on the field and get hits on the quarterback. Kevin Steele promises this year that no quarterback is going to stand in the pocket without getting hit.
Thank you, Barry. Glad to have you with us. And oh, by the way, if we mentioned, there's a new head football coach. It's Nick Saban. You may have heard of him. We'll talk about the matchup and have the opening kick. Alabama and Western Carolina coming up next. The Crimson Tide of Alabama making its way onto the field for the first time with Nick Saban as its head coach. 92,000 plus here to greet them as they were for A-Day. It has been absolutely nuts in Tuscaloosa since the arrival of Nick Saban as head coach. These fans ready to see the Tide take the field for the first time. There he is, the head coach. 27th in the history of the University of Alabama, 106 wins, 2 SEC titles, and the 2003 National Championship on his resume. Those numbers you saw, his collegiate coaching numbers, not including his victories with Miami Dolphins over the last couple of years. But since Nick Saban has been here, Tyler, it has been nothing but media attention, fan frenzy, and Kent Briggs, the head coach at Western Carolina, bringing his team in for a wonderful opportunity, one that they know will be very, very tough to pull off against the Tide.
And there's not a player down on that field right now that is not excitement just about the electricity that is in this stadium here this evening.
Western Carolina out of the Southern Conference. A year ago, winless in league play, 2 victories overall. Of course, the Tide coming off of a 6-7 season. And Mike Shula's last as the head coach of the Crimson Tide. Tickets have been sold out. There were a few that were sent back from Western Carolina last week. Those were gone in about 15 minutes. You could only order them online. It took all of 15 minutes for those to get gobbled up. And I think just about every seat is indeed filled at Bryant-Denny Stadium. 89 degrees, pretty humid. It's been a lot worse, though, in the state of Alabama and throughout most of the country over the last month. Second meeting all time, Alabama knocking off Western Carolina 52-0 just a couple of years ago when these squads met here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Handling the kicking duties will be Jonathan Parsons, see number 36. And deep for the Tide, Javier Arenas. He returned 2 punts for touchdowns a year ago. He'll be joined back there by DJ Hall, the senior out of Fort Walton Beach, Florida. One of the top receivers in Alabama history, and still what we hope will be a very full season to go. We welcome you to Tuscaloosa as the 2007 season of the Nick Saban era get underway. Arenas fielding from the 25, looking for a couple of blocks, and he gets them. He's got a seam. He cuts back. He gets across midfield and gets to the 42-yard line. Tyler, the new rule this year, kicking off from the 30 instead of the 35, playing havoc across the country already.
Yeah, we already saw it come into play today in the Michigan game, and here Alabama taking full advantage of that as they're able to get it past midfield.
Arenas following his blocks nicely and picking up great yardage. There's the quarterback, John Parker Wilson, 2,700 yards in a very brief career. Just a junior, started each game last year for Alabama. He'll go on the pitch to Grant, who's got room. He's got a first down. He's got more. He's got green grass. And on one play, he has a touchdown for the Crimson Tide. 47 yards, and Alabama's on the board first.
And it took just one play for this offensive line to dominate the line of scrimmage. Here you see Grant making cuts all over. Great effort down the field by Cadell. You see his wide receivers helping out, and that's what springs Terry Grant loose.
Lee Tiffin on to try the extra point. 22 seconds in. And just like that, Alabama's on top, 7-0. I think the Tide fans got the start they were looking for. One play, one score. Alabama on top, 7-0. A great return by Javier Arenas puts Alabama at the 48 of Western Carolina. A great run, some great blocking, and Terry Grant gives Alabama the first score of the game. 48-yard touchdown to open things up. 14:38 left to go in the first quarter of action, and the Tide gets on the board. Lee Tiffin kicking off. The short kick will be fielded by the up man at the 18. And Alabama reads it very well. Chris Rogers coming up to make the stop after the return from Willie Harper. And the Catamounts start off 1st and 10 at their own 23-yard line. Nick Saban, known as a defensive coach, known as a champion. 2 SEC titles at LSU, 3 division crowns, 1 national championship, and Todd Spitzer a bit wide-eyed. The young quarterback coming in under center with his team already down 7-0.
Yeah, already dug into a hole, so the Catamounts need to get something going quick.
Malone and Joe Clark Deere, your setbacks, but they'll go on the quick out pass, overthrown, try to hook up with Markel Pittman, but well covered and also out of reach. Here's a look at the Western Carolina offense. Cullowhee, North Carolina, the home of Western Carolina University. You see the offensive front with Kevin Wiggins there at center. Your backs and receivers, Malone, Clark Deere, Cohen, Hines, and Davis. And a 2nd and 10 upcoming from the 24-yard line. Single setback with 3 wideouts for Spitzer. Bama with a 4-man front this time as they bring Knight up. Actually Saunders, and he makes a big hit on the stop of the ball carrier. Keith Saunders, the senior out of Willingboro, New Jersey, out of Holy Cross High School, making the stop as it'll be 3rd and long for Western Carolina. There you see Gilberry, Washington, and Greenwood, your 3-man front. They'll walk Saunders or Knight up there defensively from those 4 linebackers. Castile and Mitchell at the corners with Carter and Johnson, your safeties. That may be the strength of Alabama's defense in terms of experience. That front 7 with a nice start on the first 2 plays anyway. 3rd and 8. They've got to get across the 34 for a first down from the gun. Spitzer with a man in motion, looking, has time, pass incomplete, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Pittman, and you could tell he heard footsteps, Tyler.
Yeah, already. Well, you talked about it earlier. Alabama running the 3-man front. That time, Keith Saunders lined up on the line of scrimmage. You have Simeon Castile also flirt with on a blitz look here. And as you said, Spitzer just hears the footsteps, a lot of pressure in the backfield off the chest.
Stephen Brown to punt, Arenas to return. Standing at his own 35. As the Tide defense allows 2 yards and nothing more. Low snap, good job of fielding it. The low kick, Arenas will field on a hop. Looking for running room, can't find any. Good coverage there by the Catamounts, as on the stop was John McDarris. And the Tide will start in their own territory, but still excellent field position just across the 45-yard line. There's the offensive front, but he get a chance to commend them earlier because Alabama scored on the first play. A solid offensive front that could indeed be the strength of Alabama's offense, even though you got a veteran core of skill position guys. But Smith, Britt, Caldwell, Davis, and Mike Johnson at right tackle, giving Alabama a much stronger offensive line than a year ago. A group that's gained a lot of experience and a lot of strength as well during the offseason. Looking for Walker, deflected in and out of the hands, of DJ Hall, and then Matt Caddell also had his hands on it. 2 guys there, neither could bring it in.
Yeah, it's not normal that you see DJ Hall have a ball go in and out of his hand, and as you said, Caddell just right behind him, almost had an opportunity himself.
Orenguze, who was listed there, not dressed, so starting in his place, Michael Shaw, number 42, getting the nod. The pitch to Grant. He's got room again, and he is across the 44-yard line. That'll give him a first down, as you've got big Andre Smith blocking downfield, and the Tide fans love it. But they like most of all the first down yardage, as Grant has looked awfully good on his first 2 carries.
Yeah, and Alabama's doing a nice job early on of being able to control the line of scrimmage and run the football. And as we saw, the screen didn't pick it up, but Andre Smith blocking about 20 yards downfield.
It was not tough for everybody else to see it, though, in the stadium. When the big fella gets all that going one direction, it's hard to stop. Not a bad receiver, as we found out in the bowl game last year. Grant again on first down, picking up 5, maybe 6 before being bumped out of bounds. The question was, what would the Nick Saban offense look like? He said it would be the Alabama offense. Major Applewhite, the offensive coordinator, but it's a veteran staff that's bringing a lot of different things together. Primarily, though, if you saw LSU under Nick Saban, that's the majority of what you'll see from this Alabama team.
Football hadn't changed much over the course of the last 50 years. In order to be successful, you have got to be able to run the football, and these coaches know that.
Wilson from the gun on 2nd and 5. He's got a man. It's complete. Out of bounds. That is Earl Alexander making his first grab as an Alabama wideout. The 6'5", 210-pound freshman out of Central High School in Phoenix City had a great preseason camp, as did Mike McCoy, getting the start for Alabama in this one.
Nice protection up front as you see John Parker Wilson step out. And Alexander, as you said, had a great A-Day. I know we called his name several times in that game.
Baron Huber in at fullback. They'll give it to Grant again, trying to dodge tacklers at the line of scrimmage, able to shuffle forward for a yard. Best defensive play for Western Carolina thus far. Grant will check out. And we'll see Jimmy Johns come in his place. Johns has seen time at fullback in preseason camp as well as at halfback. That's where he is now with a man in motion. Johns trying to work his way near the 20, but he's going to be stopped at the 21-yard line. That'll set up 3rd and 5. First third down Alabama's been faced with on their first 2 series so far. Just joining us, a 48-yard touchdown run on the first play from scrimmage. by Terry Grant, giving Alabama a current 7-0 lead. 22 seconds was all it took for Alabama to return the kick to the 48 and then run it into the end zone on one play. From the gun, 3rd and a long 5 with 4 wideouts in formation. Wilson with plenty of time. He's got his man. He's got the completion. It's a first down again. Alexander making the grab across the way, and the Tide will have 1st and goal from the Western Carolina 9.
Alabama picking on that left side on Antoine George for the Catamounts, playing an extremely soft corner as Alexander's able to just run about a 12 to 15 yard out, and another completion and 1st down.
They'll give him 11 officially on the play. Alexander 2 catches on this drive as Alabama now will go with 2 tight ends and a couple of wideouts with Grant the lone setback behind Wilson. Grant brought down at the 5. Good job defensively by the Catamounts. Among the players there to bring him down, the safety Chris Collins, a sophomore out of High Point, North Carolina, but Alabama will have 2nd and goal, from the 5.
And this is an area where last year Alabama struggled inside the 10-yard line with being able to get offensive touchdowns running the football. So this is an area that they definitely want to work on.
Walker, the tight end, to the left, with Baron Huber in at fullback in front of Grant. Once more to Grant. We got a flag on the play as Grant is brought down just shy of the goal line, but I believe this one's going to come back. First penalty of the 2007 season. And we'll wait on the word from our referee, Matt Austin. Procedure against the Tide will back it up 5. So instead of 2nd and goal from just outside the 4, that'll put it just outside the 9. And we'll see Matt Caddell check in. Nick Saban has preached consistency since the start of preseason camp. Crimson Tide head coach, again the 27th in the history of this program. I don't know if there's been any other that has arrived with as much fanfare, even the one they called the Bear. Play action, Wilson looking, got a man beyond his reach, trying to connect once again with Mike McCoy, but just out of his reach. Had him open, but led him just a little bit too much, Tyler.
Had McCoy and Nick Walker all by themselves there in the flat. It was a nice play action pass. Offensive line doing a good job of selling the run. John Parker just rolling to his left, just led him a little bit too much.
5 carries for Grant, 68 yards. Of course, the majority of them coming on that 48-yard score on the first series. Bama trying to score on its 2nd, but faced with 3rd and goal from just inside the 10. 4 wideouts, kind of a double stack, just offset as Wilson will look. Plenty of time, he's got a man, but there is contact, no flags, and an incomplete pass. He was trying to connect with DJ Hall as he did many times last year. Those two connected 5 times for scores. But we'll look at it again from the quarterback's view.
Alabama stacks a wide receiver. They send one on and out, one work in the middle of the field. You see John Parker Wilson try to force it over the middle. Had him open. I think that was a little bit an uncatchable ball.
27-yard attempt from the snap of Brian Selman. The hold of P.J. Fitzgerald. Lee Tiffin on to try the field goal from the right hash. Plenty of leg, but no good. Missed it right. So Tiffin now 8 of 14 for his career, and Western Carolina holds. 7-0 though, Bama on top. Bama misses a golden opportunity to score. Lee Tiffin missing from 27 yards out. First time in his career that he has missed from inside 30 yards, but now 8 of 14 for his career. 0 for 1, unfortunately, on the start of the year. Jamie Christensen battling an injury. Was beaten out as well in preseason camp by Tiffin. As you see, the numbers in all-time season openers for the Tide is on the first play of this drive. Mike Malone picks up about 5 yards, by far the best play from scrimmage for Western Carolina, which went 3 and out on its first series, gaining only a couple of yards. Malone, 5'10", 175, a junior. He is out of Gainesville, Georgia. That'll be the lone setback behind the quarterback, Todd Spitzer. Changing the play at the line of scrimmage, it appears. They'll go with a lot of no huddle and call things from there. 2nd and 5, just shy of their own 25 of the Catamounts. They'll dump it off to Malone out of the backfield. One nice move, able to get a little bit of an angle on Lionel Mitchell. However, able to break the tackle and get across the 30, and that should be enough to move the chains for the first time for Western Carolina.
And this is where you see the Western Carolina offense going to that no huddle. What that does is prevent Alabama from making a lot of substitutions. At least that's the idea behind it. Lionel Mitchell doing a great job covering off coverage that time and making the tackle.
3 down linemen. Alabama will walk up 2 other guys to the corner, though. On 1st and 10. Spitzer barking out signals with 9 minutes and ticking time left in the quarter. On play action with time, Spitzer looking deep, and that one's going to be out of the reach of the intended receiver, Michael Hines, a 6'2 senior from Asheville, North Carolina. Good coverage by Alabama. Marcus Carter there, the senior out of Fort Payne High School in Fort Payne, Alabama. He and Simeon Castile were there.
2nd and 10.
Marcus Stamps and Simeon Castile doing a great job of dropping back on that last play. Spitzer really had nowhere to throw the football.
Second and 10 from just across the 30. I set. They'll give it to Malone, and he is going to pick up 2, maybe 3 as he tries to drag the pile. I'll credit Rashad Johnson with a stop, as we'll have 3rd and 7 upcoming.
3rd and 7 at the 33.
So working from the gun this time, 3rd and long. Catamounts trying to keep the ball away from the Bama offense, which has been productive even though they only scored once in their 2 drives. Bama's been able to put it deep into Western Carolina territory on both occasions. The first drive, a 1-play touchdown scoring move as Western Carolina on the quick slant. They've got a man and they've got a touchdown unless one guy can come up with a stop. He can't. On 3rd and 7, they go the distance. Eddie Cohen on the slant, Spitzer with the throw, and we've got a flag behind the play, and this one may indeed come back. 67 yards on the score at the moment. We'll wait and see if this one will come back.
Coach Thompson on the sideline definitely thinks it is coming back.
So holding will bring this one back, and that's the kind of play that if you're a 1AA team, you cannot make against Alabama in this setting and have
on
a
the
shot.
offense, number 80. 10-yard penalty
About
for
the
the spot
area
of the
where
foul.
the flag was
Still results in a
thrown.
1st down.
Is really where the Catamount was able to spring it loose, so that's what enabled him to break loose.
See Kent Briggs, the head coach of the Catamounts. 6th year at his alma mater. 21-33 is his record. 2-9 last year. The least successful of his tenure. As they'll bring it back to the 44. It is a 1st down, but not a touchdown. And he gives Alabama's defense a 2nd chance. Solid hit from Darren Mustin. Willie Harper, thankful that when the helmet came off, the head wasn't in it. Mustin, the transfer from Middle Tennessee, coming up with a huge hit there.
And the only reason both McLean as well as Mustin didn't square him up was because there wasn't enough room on his body. Both of them doing a nice job filling that hole and planting the Catamount running back.
It was McLean who may have delivered the bigger blow, but Mustin bounced off first and got to celebrate. Rolando McLean and Darren Mustin combining on that stop. 2nd and 11 now. From just outside the 46. Play action. Heavy pressure. And down he goes. Lorenzo Washington getting the start. Brian Motley projected as the starter throughout preseason camp. Broke not only his hand, but a couple of days later broke his ankle. He's out for 6 to 8 weeks. This is a great sign to see Washington step up.
Washington gets the sack, but give a lot of credit to both Keith Saunders as well as Wallace Gilliberry. Force and Spitzer up in the pocket, right into the arms of Washington.
Mike Malone late coming out onto the field. But with the no-huddle look, they buy a little extra time. Play clock just now at 10. With 3rd and 18 upcoming, they've got to get across the 35 of Alabama to have a first. They're back in their own territory now. The delay, and it won't go far. Gilberry from defensive end, busting down the line and making the stop on Malone for another loss, and the Catamounts will have to punt.
Western Carolina tries to pull both their guard as well as their tackle. Wallace Gilberry doing a nice job of just following it down the line of scrimmage to make the tackle in the backfield.
Bobby Greenwood there to help as well, and we will see once again Stephen Brown come on to punt with Arenas standing back at his own 10.
Brown in punt formation for Western Carolina. Javier Arenas deep to receive for Alabama.
Unusual formation from the punting unit. Bama with good pressure, but he does get the kickoff, and it takes a huge Western Carolina roll. Finally going out of bounds at about the 7-yard line. Timeout on the field with 5:49 to go in the first quarter. Alabama leading the Catamounts of Western Carolina 7-0. Glad you're with us on Crimson Tide pay-per-view. 7-0 Alabama leading Western Carolina, along with Tyler Watson, Barry Krause. I'm Chris Stewart here on Crimson Tide pay-per-view. Nick Saban's debut as the Crimson Tide head coach. Pretty nice start. 1 play, 1 score. Terry Grant went 48 yards. When you marry a program that's won 12 national titles with a man who has the resume of Nick Saban, it's easy to understand why there is so much excitement for the Crimson Tide head coach and where things are going with this program, Tyler.
I don't think there's any question. They know they have a proven leader in here at the University of Alabama, one that can take them back to where Alabama fans are used to seeing their football program be year in and year out.
Phenomenal run in Baton Rouge where they had struggled to have winning seasons. He takes them to 48-16 in 5 years. Again, 3 Western Division crowns, 2 SEC titles in 2003, giving LSU just the 2nd national championship in that school's history. Bama with by far its worst starting field position. 3rd drive for Alabama as Grant on the carry cannot get far.
A lot of pressure coming off that end. Baron Huber tries to pick up 1, but there's just really nowhere for Grant to run the ball.
Either confusion or Grant wanting a substitute, not sure. He was signaling to the Bama sideline, but the Tide will have 2nd and 12 now. As Wilson will go on play action. He's got a man, that's Hall with the catch. He's got the first down. Across the 17, they'll spot him about the 18-yard line, and that will be enough for a first down.
It's a lot of fun to watch a really good receiver because they run their routes as much with their body as they do with their legs. And what I mean by that, we didn't get it on video here, but DJ Hall does a nice job with his shoulders and with his head, faking the inside move. That's what springs him loose on the outside.
Jimmy Johns in now at running back for the Tide with 3 wideouts in formation. They'll swing it to Johns out of the backfield. Looking for room, and he's got it. bulls his way across the 35, and he'll spot him at the 38-yard line. Another first down for Alabama. Former Mr. Football in the state of Mississippi, gaining 15 on the play. A former quarterback, so versatile. We've seen it throughout his career.
Well, we saw him throughout the course of last year being a bruiser up the middle in between the tackles. But this is something that Jimmy Johns can also do. Get out on the corner, use his speed, and as you see right there, lower his head to pick up extra yardage.
Nice job by the wideouts, too, blocking there on the corner. Matt Cadell among them, who was in your picture. So from the 38, McCall, the tight end, in motion as Wilson has time again. Across the middle, great grab by Hall. Ducks his way down as he gets into Western Carolina territory at the 43 of the Catamounts.
It's all about timing, and here you see John Parker Wilson coming into his second season as a starter, really finding those windows, delivering a nice ball to DJ Hall.
Hall coming into this game 153 yards shy of Ozzie Newsome's all-time Alabama record. He had caught over 2,000 yards worth of passes in his career. Grant again out of the backfield, finding room. He's going to be close to another first down. We are seeing a lot of different looks from Alabama offensively and a lot of different ways to get the ball in the hands of that man, number 29.
We're also seeing a lot of patience on the entire offensive unit, understanding their offense, trying to push the ball down the field. But when something is taken away from them, doing a great job of checking down to the underneath receivers just to pick up positive yards.
Grant again tried to break free from the first stop, but Kadeem Morgan, the linebacker, able to wrap up until help arrived, and it's a loss on the play for Alabama of about a half yard. So third and short.
The third and ones are about mental toughness, hitting the guy across the ball and picking up that yard.
Wilson already 4 for 4, 61 yards on the drive, but they'll give it straight ahead to Johns, and he just bulls his way inside the 25 and down to the 23-yard line of the Catamounts. It's another Alabama first down. Again, this drive starting just inside the 5-yard line, and Alabama now deep into Western Carolina territory.
Handoff right behind the left side of that line. You saw Huber doing a great job leading up in the hole. Jimmy Johns lowering his head and doing the rest.
First and 10 at the 22.
So at the 22 of the Catamounts, we'll see Nikita Stover come to the near side of the field. That again is a tight end, McCall in motion. Wilson stepping up in the pocket, able to elude a couple of defenders. Now looking for first down yardage. Gets inside the 10, moves the chains. It'll be first and goal, Bama, from the 8-yard line. Antoine George saved the touchdown for the Catamounts.
You saw the pressure coming up the middle. John Parker Wilson just couldn't find any open receivers. We're up here screaming, get down, get down. Nice cutback on John Parker Wilson.
One of only 7 Bama quarterbacks to throw for 2,000 yards in a single season. And that was in his first year as a starter, his sophomore campaign. First and goal at the 7. Third time Bama's been in this territory. They didn't spend much time there on the first play. Johns inside the 3, riding a wave of blockers down to about the 2-yard line. Second and goal from there.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if you saw the mentality of this Alabama coaching staff. They're telling their players right here on the goal line, we're going to run the ball, we're not going to make mistakes, we're not going to back ourselves up, and we're going to score a touchdown.
Second and goal to go.
Dominating your opponent every day. That's what Nick Saban talked about in his first press conference. Bama trying to do just that at the line of scrimmage here with Huber at fullback, Grant dotting the I. He will follow the blockers into the end zone for the second Alabama touchdown of the day. 13-0 Alabama on Terry Grant's second score of the evening.
And it's as easy as getting back to the line of scrimmage. And oh, by the way, did I mention, your offensive line just pushed it 5 yards deep in the end zone.
Tiffin on to try the extra point. It would give Alabama a 14-0 lead with 1:58 to go in this first quarter. Flag on the plays. The kick is up and good, but they'll sort things out as a flag came flying in from the near side of the field. Again, we hear from Matt Austin.
Offsides, defense,
Offsides.
a penalty's declined, kick is good.
Alabama obviously waving it off and taking the point. 14-0. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. That's what Alabama's done offensively. On 3 possessions, they have scored 2 touchdowns, had 1 missed field goal, and Nick Saban talking to his squad as they march it 94 yards in under 4 minutes.
It's a great job there as Alabama was backed up inside the 5-yard line to start that drive off. And as you said, it was a mixture of both the run and the pass. John Parker Wilson doing a good job of not forcing the ball, hitting his backside out of the backfield. Terry Grant, the offensive line, doing an outstanding job of running, picking up positive yards on each play.
Grant deserving the touchdown there. 6 carries, 70 yards on that drive. Excuse me, 6 carries, 70 yards total with 2 touchdowns. Nick Saban's debut has been just what the doctor ordered for the Tide fans. But a lot of football to be played. Just under 2 minutes left in this first quarter. We gave you our starting lineups presented by Tuscaloosa Toyota. A lot of familiar faces on the offensive side, a lot of new ones defensively. So far, so good for Alabama as Tiffin will kick off once again. Another short kick that will be fielded by the up man. Bama with pretty good coverage there as Willie Harper returns it across the 30 to about the 33. The Catamounts starting off in pretty good field position again there. We watched a lot of football earlier today. The new rule, the 30-yard line being where your kicks begin from rather than the 35s, making a major difference in a lot of games already, and that's not surprising.
Well, all it's done is it's really eliminated, except for your great athletes, your great kickers, of being able to put it in the end zone. I like what Alabama's doing in here. They know they don't have the ability to stick it in the end zone, so let's stick it as high as we can. Hopefully our tacklers will get down there where it hits, and we'll be able to stop them inside the 25-yard line.
Todd Spitzer, the quarterback, giving it to Harper. And the sophomore from Asheville, North Carolina, picking up a couple on the play. Lorenzo Washington, the nose guard for the Tide, along with Marcus Carter, the strong safety, in on the stop. Second and 8. Had a lot of second and longs at the Catamounts in this first quarter, which has just about a minute and 15 left in it. Joe Clark Deere, the fullback, short drop, quick slant, complete, nice catch by Cohen again. Eddie Cohen, the man that caught about a 15-yard slant, then turned it into a 67-yard touchdown, only to have a lot of it come back because of a holding penalty downfield on their second drive of the game, able to pick up nice yardage there. Rolando McClain able to get out there. As you saw, the little slant pass just come right up under him, however. It was just a nice play for Western Carolina. Third and short. Right at a yard. 2 tight end set with Harper, the lone setback behind Spitzer. They'll give it to Harper. And he is going to be awfully close to the marker, but I don't think he got there. Darren Mustin along with Wallace Gilberry there. Going to depend on the spot. And Matt Austin says, I don't need the chains. That's 4th down. The Catamounts pleading their case with their head coach. They'll have a few moments to talk about it as the first quarter has come to a close, and it's been a good one for the Crimson Tide. Terry Grant's 48-yard touchdown run started things, got people excited as the Tide leads it by 14. John Parker Wilson leading Alabama to a 14-0 lead through the first quarter of play with Tyler Watson. Our sideline reporter Barry Krause. I'm Chris Stewart. So glad to have you with us here on Crimson Tide pay-per-view as the 2007 season gets underway. First season under Nick Saban as the Crimson Tide head coach, and Alabama taking its first play from scrimmage, 48 yards on a touchdown run by Terry Grant. Tide missing a short field goal on its next possession, and then a 94-yard touchdown drive capped by another short Terry Grant run gave Alabama the current 14-0 lead. 4th and short. Catamounts go for it, and Todd Spitzer pleased that the offense able to pick up that yardage. Kent Briggs, again, the head coach, 21-33 in 6 years at his alma mater. 4-year letterman at Western Carolina back in the late 70s as a quarterback. Also spent 9 years as an assistant coach in Cullowhee. Before spending 11 more at North Carolina State, various roles, co-defensive coordinator his last 4, but spent 1 year at UConn as a defensive coordinator before returning to Western Carolina in the 2002 season. Spitzer to throw, ball is tipped, and then in and out of the hands of a second potential receiver, Shamar Allen, the tight end, who almost came up with a break for WCU, but couldn't hang on to it.
Might have been a little bit of miscommunication on the defensive part right here. See Rolando McClain, don't know if he was supposed to be in man coverage or not. Definitely needed a little help over the top as Western Carolina was able to squeeze that tight end out.
So on 2nd and 10, Spitzer again. Barking out the signals. Bama showing blitz, play action. Gilberry forcing pressure, and Bama almost coming up with a pick. Good coverage there after good pressure up front. Taking a look at the first quarter stats presented by Cook's Pest Control. Alabama with a 14-0 lead. I would say Bama dominated at the line of scrimmage, especially in the ground game.
Well, that second number right there, the 104 yards rushing, that's what you want to see every week by this offensive unit. If you're able to run the football, the passing plays will come off of it.
Time of possession not a factor there, as Alabama only needed 1 play to score its first touchdown. 3rd and 10. As Spitzer will have 3 wideouts to the left. And Mike Malone, the lone setback. Nice throw and catch, finding his receiver in the seam. That's Michael Hines, the senior out of Asheville, North Carolina, with another grab. Really had to thread the needle, throwing back across his body.
Well, Spitzer does a really nice job of just floating in the pocket, as you said, able to find a window there. Alabama doing a good job of getting back in their zone coverages. Sometimes you just have to tip the other team.
So on 1st and 10 from the Bama 40, Western Carolina in Bama territory for the second time. Just over 14 minutes to go in this second quarter as they'll go on the give once more to Malone, and he's got good yardage to the 22 of Alabama. 18 yards on the carry.
There you see Western Carolina pulled both those guard and the tackle, able to get them out on the lead blocks. Not a whole lot the Alabama defense could do.
Alabama making some changes defensively. Kareem Jackson, a freshman, in at corner on the near side, just out of your picture. 1st and 10 inside the Bama 22. 14-0 Bama at the moment. Catamounts trying to change it. Oh, they had Willie Harper out there. Don't know if he would have had much, but it was in and out of his hands as he tried to look upfield. Spitzer 4 for 10, 58 yards thus far on the day. But again, those numbers would have been much better if the penalty had not brought back what was a 67-yard scoring play on a hook up with Eddie Cohen in the first quarter. Movement by Alabama as the flags come in. See if they were drawn off, or if Alabama just jumped the gun.
Prior to the snap, offsides, 97 defense, 5-yard penalty, repeat second down.
This is something Coach Saban didn't want to see, was a lot of mental penalties.
Second flag against Alabama. Second and 5 now for the Catamounts. Short drop, Spitzer to throw. Great coverage by Alabama. Trying to connect with Pittman, but you had Lionel Mitchell, the corner there in coverage for Alabama. Not a whole lot of room, a lot of traffic there.
Alabama bringing pressure on Simeon Castile from the field, and that time Keith Saunders actually dropped back in coverage also to prevent any successful play with that little slant route.
Third down and 5. You see the numbers there on your screen. Spitzer from the gun. Looking with time. Looking for the corner of the end zone and nobody there. He was trying to connect with his big tight end, Travis Osborne, 6'3", 245 out of Maiden, North Carolina. But looked like he got tied up trying to get off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, there was a lot of contact coming off of the line of scrimmage, but I think that it was mutual. A lot of pushing on both sides. So the referee needs to do the best thing and just let the play go.
A 34-yard attempt upcoming. John McDarris is the snapper with Stephen Brown to hold. And Jonathan Parsons will try the field goal. He's got enough leg, and that one is right through the uprights, and the Catamounts are on the board. So Alabama's defense gives up 3. Catamounts are on the board, but Nick Saban's Crimson Tide still leads it 14-3. 14-3, Alabama leading. I'm a trained professional, but I have nothing to follow that other than first season success for Crimson Tide coaches. Ray Perkins' era following Coach Bryant, a 20-7 win over Georgia Tech. Bill Curry also a winner. Gene Stallings is the one that was not a sign of things to come. He lost his first 3 games, but of course, the only coach since Coach Bryant to win a national championship for the Tide. Dennis Franchione also losing an exciting ball game against UCLA here at Bryant-Denny in his first contest back in 2001. And on a steamy, hot day in Birmingham, Mike Shula winning his debut against South Florida. And Nick Saban well on his way to getting a victory in this one, but as he talked about all week, he is a lot more concerned with his team than the outcome, as you see just a couple of the accolades for Coach Saban after he led LSU to the 2003 national title. He talks about the process a lot. He talked about an identity for his team, and not so much how you'd handle things offensively and defensively, but how do you handle things character-wise? How do you handle returns is another thing to look for. So far, so good for Javier Arenas. He's had one big return already and is tripped up as he gets inside the 40. They'll spot him out of bounds back at the 36. His second big return to give Bama great starting field position.
Well, no one individual can do it all on their own, and here you see the special teams for Alabama doing a great job. A lot of red jerseys down the field, putting bodies on body. Arenas able to spring it out and pick up all that yardage.
Saw him return 2 punts last year for touchdowns, but a guy that was almost salivating with that new rule that was going to take away a lot of touchbacks that we have seen over the years. Javier Arenas, speedster out of Tampa, Florida. Just a sophomore out of Robinson High School. Terry Grant again on the carry. Already has 2 touchdowns, and he's got about 5 yards there, getting close to the century mark for the ball game. In fact, he may be over 100 yards now for the afternoon, but he's getting not there yet, but close. Again, when you take 48 at a time, as he did on his first carry, that'll help your numbers. Second and about 4 after the 6-yard gain. 73 yards officially for Grant. And that'll be another Alabama first down as they knock him down just shy of the 20. 9-yard gain. And Alabama moves the chains once again.
Alabama's really blessed to have the type of runners that they do. Here you see Terry Grant able to get to the corner. Then you see that second gear come into play as he turns it upfield. He's able to make a move with his body and pick up even more yardage. But a lot of running backs, they get to the corner, able to pick up 2 or 3 yards. As you said, saw right there, Terry Grant able to turn it on.
Stover and Cadell to the near side. DJ Hall, the lone wide out to the top of your picture on the give. Grant inside the 15, inside the 5, inside the end zone for his third touchdown of the day. And Alabama leads it now 20-3.
And these are the type plays that Terry Grant is going to thrive on. Having field, having space to work with, able to use his ability to start and stop really quick, turn it upfield, as we talked about earlier. Get into that second gear in a step or two. That's what makes this back successful.
11 carries, 103 yards, 3 touchdowns. Lee Tiffin on, successfully converting his third extra point of the night, and Alabama opens up a 21-3 lead over Western Carolina with 12:20 left to go in the second quarter. The freshman out of Mississippi with quite the start. Terry Grant, the freshman running back for the Crimson Tide out of Lumberton, Mississippi, lumbering for 3 scores, 48 yards on the first one. He's done it from everywhere.
Takes the ball, able to get to that second gear quick, reverse and field. There you see what really enables all this, and that's the downfield effort by his teammates. Able to spring him loose. He gets in the open field, he's gone. Short yardage, also able to bull his way through, getting some nice blocks from the left side. And then this one, acting more like a basketball player with that first step quickness, as you saw right there, able to explode through and pick up a second touchdown.
9.5 yards per carry, that'll work. 3 scores, 103 yards on just 11 carries. And Terry Grant, with a little help from his friends, giving Alabama the 21-3 lead. Lee Tiffin on to kick off once more. He's been busy in that role today. A nice, strong, deep kick this time, fielded inside the 5. Mike Malone trying to get it across the 20. He does so to the 23 after the short kicks. That time, Nick Saban opting to have him kick it deep, and successfully so. Marcus Waldrop on the stop for Alabama.
Really promising seeing the leg strength of Lee Tiffin right there, putting it all the way down to the goal line. It's a great kick that part, only time.
Alabama's averaging about 9.5 yards per play, less than 3.5 per play for Western Carolina. Adam Hearns in now at quarterback, a 6'1" sophomore out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He works under center for the first time. On the pitch to Malone. Not much running room, and he will be brought down back inside the 20. Simeon Castile, the first man there to greet him, but he too got some help.
Simeon does a great job of slowing the running back down. As you see, he's going to dive for him. Doesn't quite get him, able to hop back up on his feet, and then that's when the rest of the game comes.
-6 on the play. Kareem Jackson also helping him, or forcing the runner to change direction. 2nd and 17 officially as they spot it back inside the 18-yard line. Hearns working from the gun, it appears. with Joe Clark Deere, the fullback, on one side, and Mike Malone, the other setback. Hearns whipping it out there. Pass complete, but nowhere to go for Nick Miller. Simeon Castile again wrapping him up, forcing a loss on the play.
Screen passes work great when you have success throwing the ball downfield. And here you see Simeon Castile just doing an outstanding job of recognizing the play. Breaks off of his covers, able to attack upfield.
Hearns working with 4 wideouts. And a single setback as he goes from the gun once again. 3rd and Bryant drive for a first. And the crowd comes to its feet again here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. They've got to get up to the 35 for a first down, and on the keeper, Hearns able to get back near the original line of scrimmage. But he'll be brought down, and it'll set up 4th down as Rashad Johnson makes the hit. So Kent Briggs' team faced with 3rd and a bunch. Gets some of it back. Gets a little breathing room now for their punter, Stephen Brown. Fourth and 11. Good pressure again from Alabama. Low kick that Arenas will field at the 40. He doesn't believe in a fair catch. When he makes moves like that, you understand why. He's had a big evening already. But good coverage by Western Carolina, containing him inside the 45 of Alabama. They'll spot it officially at the 44. The $1 Million Band getting a rare break in this first half. They've been busy, as has the Tide. With Tyler Watson, Barry Krause, Chris Stewart back with you in Tuscaloosa at Bryant-Denny Stadium. 7th largest on-campus stadium in the nation. They've had 8 sellouts in 2006. And this summer, the largest crowd to ever see an 8A game, the largest to ever see a spring game period in college football, when 92,000 plus were crammed in here. Several thousand others were turned away. That's pretty much the way it's been since Mr. Saban's plane landed. Absolutely nuts, and those that bleed crimson love it. Play action, Wilson looking to throw. His big tight end, Nick Walker, is wide open, and he is able to high-step his way inside the 45 to about the 42. Another Alabama first down.
Well, Alabama having so much success on the ground, that's what allows this play to work. Offensive linemen doing a great job faking their zone blocks. And as you saw right there, Walker just able to slip out in the flats.
Boy, a little bit late finding his man to block. That's the only reason Walker didn't pick up more yardage down the sideline, but Bama moves the chains nonetheless. Wilson again to throw. Underthrows the intended receiver, DJ Hall. He got heavy pressure from the corner, and he had to unload it a little bit earlier than he would have liked.
Yeah, it looks like John Parker knew where he wanted to go with the ball, but as you stated, just didn't quite have enough time to set his feet.
Bama going quickly from the line of scrimmage here on 2nd and 10. Grant again the lone setback. See the 3 wideouts for Wilson. Pressure coming, rolls the pocket, now just tucks it and does a very, very wise thing right there. Reminds me of another number 14 who almost refused to do that many times in his career, didn't you?
Talking about Gary Rutledge?
Not quite that far back. Rashad Parker Wilson, 7 of 11 for 100 yards passing so far. A nice compliment to the 103 yards rushing plus by Terry Grant.
Absolutely. Anytime you're that balanced offensively, you're going to have a productive day.
Getting it to Grant to backfield. That's about his 3rd catch of the afternoon or the evening now as well. Not much of a gain there. So 4th down upcoming for Alabama. And P.J. Fitzgerald on to punt for the first time. Alabama has scored 3 touchdowns and had a missed field goal in their 4 offensive series. So Fitzgerald now on to punt for Alabama. Averaged 38 yards per kick last year on 57 attempts, a long of 55. Trying to pin the Catamounts, but can't do it. This one carries into the end zone. 19 times last year he left the opposition inside the 20.
Touchback, first and 10 Western Carolina, at the
20. Crimson Tide head coach Nick Saban with a good start in this one. You see opening day success for other Tide coaches, including Paul Bear Bryant, 18-6-1 in his tenure. Gene Stallings' lone loss came, as we mentioned earlier, in his first game as the Alabama head coach. Things got a whole lot better after that first month, though. Hearns in at quarterback for another series. But on the give, this time they go to L.J. Davis. First time that he's been on the carry, the 6'3" sophomore out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It's good that we've also seen Lorenzo Washington in on a lot of stops. Yes, he's the nose guard. That's going to happen by design, but it says that the guy getting his first start's been very active so far, Tyler.
Well, and it all starts at the nose position for this type of defense that Alabama's running. You have to have a specimen in there that can control the line of scrimmage, control those 2 guards in the center.
Davis again on the carry. McLean coming in to help on the stop. Keith Saunders, though, got him first. Saunders, the senior out of Willingboro, New Jersey. Couple of yards on the game.
We haven't called Keith Saunders' name as many times as he has been around the ball. He's done a great job all night long of whether he was dropping back in the zone blitz or putting pressure on the quarterback and getting around the ball to make a play.
Third and about 3. They've got to get across the 30. To give again to Davis. Gets to the 30. Did he get enough? It will depend on the spot. And they will indeed signal it's a first down with 7:23 to go in this second quarter. Bama on top, 21-3. Catamounts have had some successful plays. They've not been able to sustain it. They had a 67-yard throw, catch, and run that was brought back because of a penalty. They have had a scoring drive resulting in a field goal. They haven't been able to keep any type of sustained success together, and that's been their problem. Only 92 yards of total offense, Bama 242. Terry Grant with over 100 of them on the ground. Davis again. Bobby Greenwood was there. Ball hits the turf, but Davis able to get back on it. What do you like from Bama's defense that you've seen?
I like the swarming. I like how fast they're playing right now. You see the linebackers doing a good job of attacking the line of scrimmage, but then when they recognize pass, they're dropping back into their zones really good. You're also seeing the corners not get beat. They're getting a lot of pressure right now as far as just having one-on-one coverage and being all by themselves. And to this point, I will knock on wood, they have not been beat. Really haven't even picked on.
Second and about 11. Davis, the deep back behind quarterback Adam Hearns. Hearns rolling. Designed run from the start. He picks up good yardage, but bumped out of bounds. About 3 yards shy of the first down marker. They'll spot him at the 37, a gain of 7 on the play.
And as long as Adam Hearns is in the ball game, look for Western Carolina to run that type of offense. A lot of quick handoffs, using the quarterback a lot on the counter plays, as well as trying to get him onto the edge.
3 for 8 are the Catamounts on third down conversion so far. See the numbers there for the Cats. What is a Catamount? We'll answer that for you here in just a bit. Work out the dictionary. Hearns On the option pitch, Davis tripped up. Rashad Johnson got him around the ankles until help arrived, and it looks like he's held shy of the first down mark, and he is. Lorenzo Washington also coming in to help on the play as we see it again on replay.
Two ways to stop the option are, one, to slow play it, or two, disrupt the pattern of the blockers as well as the quarterback who he's supposed to pitch off of. Keith Saunders did an outstanding job that time of getting upfield, forcing the pitch early, and then the rest of the Alabama defense was able to make the play.
3 punts, an average of just over 40 yards per kick from Stephen Brown, who's on once again. They roll that one back to him, and again he does a nice job of just getting that one off and kicking it away from Javier Arenas, who you can tell is just ticked off at the world that he doesn't get another chance at a return. He's had some fun in the kicking game tonight, but this time he'll have to just watch it roll dead at the Alabama 27, 37-yard kick. Doesn't really tell the story of how successful that punt was.
That is the truth. It was a big play that time for Western Carolina simply because they didn't get it blocked. You talked about Arenas being frustrated. I think he might have had a few words with the Catamounts center because he did want to return that one.
It's Alabama. She scored 3 touchdowns in 5 series. Also missed a field goal try. Takes over at their own 27. John Parker Wilson on the give to Grant. He's been the workhorse in the quarter, and he is knocked down as he gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Western Carolina looks like they've made some adjustments up front, and I don't know if they've actually done anything or if they're just doing a much better job with the effort of being able to close those holes down and preventing these Alabama running backs from really springing loose.
Give him a half yard. Cadell in the slot to the right with Hall up top. Near side, it's McCoy, the wide out, as Wilson works from the gun. Puts it in the belly of Grant. He's got some room, but then that green grass disappeared quickly. Stopped at the 30-yard line. Phillips there on the head. Quentin Phillips, 6'2", 240, a junior out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Transfer out of Lewisburg College, making the hit. He's been pretty solid across the board. Mentioned what Grant's done running the ball. Wilson's thrown for over 100 yards. Arenas averaging over 37 yards per return on 2 kick returns so far. Let's see. They will call that a catch. Great diving grab across the way by Earl Alexander, his 3rd grab.
This is just an outstanding catch this time by Earl Alexander. You see the ball low and outside. Really and truly the only place that ball could have been thrown without potentially being knocked down. So give a lot of credit to both John Parker Wilson as well as Earl Alexander.
Alexander, a former quarterback at Central High School in Phoenix City, moved to wide out. Redshirted last year, but you can tell he has done a lot of work. Looks very much at home at the wide out spot. That's Cadell in motion as Wilson goes to Grant once again. Almost got to the open field, but Phillips again wrapped him up around the ankles as he gets across the 40 to the 41-yard line, bringing it up 2nd down at about 7.
I'll tell you another thing that we've really noticed up here is the fact you can tell how quick both Jimmy Johns as well as Terry Grant are hitting the line of scrimmage. What I mean is just getting north and south, getting back to the line of scrimmage, exploding through that hole.
Grant again bounces off a couple of guys, and Tyler, he didn't get much yardage there, certainly not after the contact, but a little guy showing some strength right there, able to bounce off and keep those legs churning.
And you never know what's going to happen. You saw him spin right there. That's a great job at initial contact. You never know when the defender is going to give up on the play, and you will be able to spring it loose. So you like to see that effort out of your running backs on every play.
3rd and 7 for Alabama. The first down marker just across their own 48. Jimmy Johns in the game as Grant checks out. Wilson with time. He's got a man. It's McCoy. It's complete. It's a first down as he gets into Western Carolina territory at the Catamounts 46. Antoine George in coverage, but not until McCoy picks up another Alabama first down.
Western Carolina putting a lot of pressure up the middle as you see the linebacker starting to scrape across. But John Parker Wilson and these Alabama wide receivers have done an outstanding job all night. Really have their timing down on these out patterns. The wide receivers are doing a nice job with their body language.
13 yards on the completion. As the Tide getting close to the 2-minute offense. 2:17 on the clock. Johns again in the backfield. Wilson the quick out. Alexander trying to break a tackle, but he'll be wrapped up inside the 40. Gain of about 7 on the play. Setting him up for a 2nd and 3 at about the 39. Chaz Jackson making the stop. Bama to the line quickly, calling the play from the line of scrimmage. Play clock just now starting as Bama snaps it. Wilson, little dump pass to Johns as they set up the screen. Couldn't get free though. Does get the first down, but he's upset. He thought he had a whole lot more and all he needed was one more block.
Well, there absolutely could not have been a better play call on this play. Western Carolina bringing a lot of pressure. Alabama taking advantage of it on the screen pass. Just give a lot of credit that time to Gene Singletary, number 82 for Western Carolina, for not giving up on the play.
But again, Bama with the first down. 4 wideouts. Johns the lone setback. Wilson to throw. All day to do so. Looking in the corner. Looking for McCoy. A lot of contact. No catch. No flag. It'll be 2nd and 10. Carlton Bailey, a great job in the corner there defensively in man coverage on McCoy. Bailey only goes 5'10", and McCoy at 6'3", 200. Still able to stay with him step for step.
Looked like he was trying to work the ball down the middle of the field, but just didn't get the look that he wanted. So he tries to throw it up and hang it up on the outside there. And as you said, fortunately for Alabama, it fell harmless.
Grant back in the game. Johns checks out. Hall and McCoy to the right side. The give to Grant. He's got running room. Breaks one tackle, gets to the 20. That'll move the chains again and stop the clock. They're going to throw a flag downfield. Looks like Mike McCoy is upset. Flag perhaps on him. Matt Austin again, our referee.
Following the play, dead ball, personal foul, 80 of the offense. It's a 15-yard penalty from the seceding spot. Because the play ended in a first down, it'll still be 1st and 10.
Little note made by the head coach right there. McCoy called for a dead ball penalty that backs it up 15 yards. 4th whistle on Alabama. Total of 25 yards, just 1 on the Catamounts so far for 10.
1st and 10 at the 35.
Bama trying to add some more points here, going in at halftime. 1:11 on the clock and ticking, 21-3 our score. Bama scoring on its first play from scrimmage. They haven't really let up since. Wilson looking. He's got McCoy, breaks one tackle, gets across the 25, and that'll be another first down. Miko Watson, the corner, there in coverage, but again, McCoy able to move the chains. Wilson very precise and getting all day to throw.
Yeah, and a sign of how good an offense can be is all determined by how many yards does a wide receiver get after he catches the ball. When a wide receiver is able to turn it up and pick him an extra 5 to 10 yards and eventually leads to touchdowns, that's when offenses start winning championships.
Wilson looking for the screen again, never really developed. Trying to go to Grant, overthrew him, but there was a lot of traffic there. Completion was never made. And Nick Saban, known as a defensive coach, but he is involved in every single aspect of his football program.
Right now, here it is with 45 seconds left in the second quarter. Now you're working on time management as well. 22 yards to the end zone. We got to manage the clock.
Under a minute to go. You see 45 seconds at the moment. Grant again on the give. Inside the 15, cuts back, stays on his feet, gets inside the 10 and brought down at the 9. Clock stops momentarily with 36 seconds. And we do have another flag on this play. Came in late once again. And it may be a late hit on Western Carolina. Saw a body come diving in on top of the pile.
Dead ball, personal foul, face mask, 40 of the defense. Phillies half the distance to the goal.
So not a late hit, but a face mask called on Tim Hook, the linebacker, freshman out of Durham, North Carolina. Hit Briggs wanting an explanation. This would be a big stop right here for Western Carolina, Tyler, if they could hold Alabama to just a field goal. You're still down 3 scores, but it's a lot different emotionally going into that locker room if you're the Catamounts if you can keep them from scoring a touchdown.
Well, other than the last drive, Western Carolina has not stopped this Alabama offensive unit.
Wilson from the gun. Grant the lone setback. Stover in as one of the wideouts. Wilson looking. Got a man, overthrows him. Cadell, the intended receiver. Looked in the back of the end zone for Cadell. Looked like he had Alexander front corner, but good coverage by the Catamounts. Antoine George in coverage primarily on Cadell. As Wilson overshoots him, but you'd rather throw it over the back of the end zone there than make a mistake.
Well, you'd always rather have an incomplete pass as opposed to a turnover.
Alexander, the wideout, to the top of your picture. The give to Grant, looking for room, can't find any. And Bama will use a timeout. Michael Shaw getting the start at middle linebacker, the buck linebacker. Basically a strong side linebacker in this scheme of 4-3 for the Catamounts. Getting the start with Morty Ornguze, the top returning tackler from Western Carolina from a year ago, being held out of this game for unspecified reasons by Coach Briggs and his staff. So Nick Saban on the headphones, Major Applewhite, the offensive coordinator, Joe Pendry, who is Alabama's assistant head coach in his 41st year as a football coach. Joe Pendry, his 41st year in football. A veteran guy that Major Applewhite can turn to, no question. 3rd and goal. Bama had to settle for a field goal try in the first quarter in one of these situations. They missed. But they're trying to capitalize here. Grant, the setback. Wilson to throw with time, looking, overthrows Hall, who was well covered on the play. Chris Collins, the free safety, with him step for step. So Alabama will have to settle for a field goal try. Lee Tiffin coming on once again.
You like the call, though, down here on the goal line. Alabama clustering all the wide receivers up. They're trying to work mismatches, bring DJ Hall into the back of the end zone. It's a good call, just didn't work out.
22-yard try from the right hash. Selman, the snapper. Fitzgerald, the holder. All 3 are good. And the 22-yard kick gives Alabama a 24-3 lead with 5 seconds left to go in the first half. Not what you wanted. You got points for Alabama. Western Carolina, as we said, something positive to build on at the half.
Well, anytime a defense is going to get backed up, if they're able to walk off the field only giving up 3 points, of course they're going to be excited. On the Alabama's part, however, once again inside the 10-yard, trying to pound it inside, had a couple of looks at the end zone, just not able to capitalize.
Lee Tiffin to kick off for Alabama. Mike Malone deep to receive for Western Carolina.
Lee Tiffin's kick fielded by Davis at the 20. Gets it across the 35, and a late flag comes flying in. And we'll see if this one's going to get backed up. No time left on the clock. It's against Alabama. There'll be one play left. If it's against the Catamounts, this first half is over. Tide coach Nick Saban would imagine pleased with some of the things he saw in the first half. Barry Krause is the third member of our crew, as they will whistle that one on flag. Whistle on Western Carolina. The half comes to a close, and here's Barry with Tide coach Nick Saban.
We're not sharp as we need to be. Obviously, I don't think we're playing as well on defense as we need to. Offensively, we're moving the ball great, and we stop ourselves with penalties, and we missed a field goal, and when we kicked the field goal, we had a penalty. So, you know, it's really us against us, you know, relative to how we're doing and what we're doing. I think defensively, we just got to be a little more physical up front. We're a little too soft, not tackling well, not getting any turnovers, be a little more aggressive.
All right, Coach, any changes for the second half?
Well, we got a few adjustments.
First, Coach Craig Riscott.
Barry Krause with Tide coach Nick Saban. His squad leading by 3 touchdowns. Terry Grant scoring 3 times in that first half. Glad to have you with us here on a beautiful night in Tuscaloosa. Along with Tyler Watts, I'm Chris Stewart, and this first half, very impressive for Alabama, Tyler. Not perfection, but pretty good nonetheless.
Well, regardless of where you are in the season, there's always going to be things you have to work on. But I think for the most part, Alabama offensive line has done a nice job of controlling the line of scrimmage, and the defense has been flying around the field. Let's
take a look at some of the highlights. The action started early. Javier Arenas, a nice return, put Alabama in Western Carolina territory. There's Terry Grant on the first play from scrimmage, 48 yards.
And here you see a lot of red jerseys downfield, giving those crucial blocks, which is really what sprung Terry Grant free.
That would be the first of his 3 touchdowns in a half. A near miss there by Lee Tiffin from 27 yards. One of the few miscues for Alabama. Grant on the short yardage score. The field goal by Jonathan Parsons from 34 yards out. The only points for Western Carolina. And then the 21-yard touchdown run by Terry Grant put him over 100 yards on the evening before halftime. And the final points of the half, Lee Tiffin from 21 yards out with just 5 seconds to go in the first half of play, giving Alabama the 24-3 lead. Taking a look at the first half numbers, Bama very balanced, very dominant at the line of scrimmage.
It's a great job on the offensive unit and a great job on the defensive unit by only holding Western Carolina to 3 points.
Again, penalties, something I'm sure Nick Saban's not happy about. However, Alabama with 18 first downs in the opening half of play. Crimson Tide able to take care of business in this first half. What will they do in the second half? We'll find out when we return. Third quarter kickoff coming up after this on Crimson Tide pay-per-view. Third quarter action just about set to get underway with Tyler Watts and Barry Krause. I'm Chris Stewart. Glad you're with us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Nick Saban's first game as Crimson Tide head coach. Always working, always thinking, taking a lot of notes down on the field. Alabama, pretty good start to the last 16 seasons. Matchup in Pasadena against UCLA, and then a tough loss here at home in 2001, the only setbacks over the last 16 years. Good look at Lee Tiffin, the sophomore kicker out of Red Bay. Of course, his dad, Van Tiffin, one of the legendary kickers in Alabama football history. Remember a November night, 1985, he made me and a lot of Alabama fans very happy. 24-3 our score as the third quarter is underway. Malone fielding it at his 10. Gets it across the 25. Alabama with pretty good coverage in special teams so far in the ball game.
Yeah, they really have done a great job, especially on the kickoff team. Really pinning Western Carolina at the 25, if not further back, all but one on one kickoff. Gave you those first half stats presented by Charter Communications, and
First and 10 at the 27.
Kent Briggs, the head coach there of Western Carolina, not seeing a whole lot to be excited about from his squad, although they did turn Alabama away a couple of times defensively. They're looking to build on tonight. They've still got a lot of work to do. They'll play another SEC team. They'll go to Georgia in 2 weeks. Those are sandwiched around a pretty tough 1AA matchup at Eastern Kentucky. So they'll start their first 3 weeks on the road as the give to Malone finds good yardage on first down. That's been a key, picking up something positive on first down and not be faced with second and third and long.
Yeah, and it works exactly the opposite for the Alabama defense. Anytime that they're able to stop Western Carolina on first down and prevent them from gaining more than 3 yards or so, it really closes in on what Western Carolina is able to do on the second and third down.
Todd Spitzer back in at quarterback. He set out the last couple of series in favor of Adam Hearns at the end of the first half. Wallace Gilberry on the stop there, but not until the Catamounts pick up a first down and move the chains. One thing you don't want to see if you're Bama defensive coordinator Kevin Steele is your defense let up. They've played pretty solid in the first half. Again, not perfect, but they've been pretty solid. You don't want to see a lapse right here and allow Western Carolina to put a score on the board and feel like they're back in this ball game.
Oh, there's no question about that. Alabama knows that they are the better football team. One of the most difficult challenges they're going to have tonight is keeping that mental focus on every play.
Spitzer with a couple of wideouts in formation, looking across the middle. That one broken up. Rolando McClain able to get a hand on it. The big middle linebacker plays the Mike linebacker, and when I say big, I mean big. 6'4", 255. That's a true freshman out of Decatur.
And it's amazing. Some people just have a nose for where the ball is going to be thrown or where receivers are coming into it. Rolando McClain does a great job that time, and you saw Washington as well in the backfield applying pressure.
Called his name a lot. That's a good sign. Gets the start ahead of Brian Motley, out with the broken ankle and won't be available for 6 to 8 weeks. Washington getting his first stats as an Alabama football player after seeing a few snaps a year ago, but not recording a tackle. 2nd and 10 upcoming for Spitzer and the Catamounts. With some time, looking, pass broken up. Castile couldn't decide whether to take the head off of Eddie Cohen or take the football into the end zone. He sort of mixed the two, broke up the pass, and delivered a pretty good hit in the process.
This is just a great example of knowing your responsibility and knowing what your fellow defenders are going to be doing on every play. Simeon Castile coming off of covers that time, waiting on the out route, delivers a great lick.
Mustin and Washington check out. As Alabama has held Western Carolina to 3 of 9 third down conversions so far. Four wideouts, 3 to the near side, as you see. The lone setback is Malone. Spitzer with some time, dumps it off, pass incomplete. Trying to connect there with Nick Miller coming across the middle. But the pass was out of his reach, and Bama, after giving up a first down, then turns the Catamounts away and forces him to punt. A good first half in the return game for Javier Arenas. He returned a couple of kickoffs for an average of 37.5 yards. A couple of punts he returned for an average of 6.5. Stephen Brown punting 4 times, averaging better than 39 yards per kick. High wobbly kick there, and a flag comes in. We're going to have either roughing or running into the kicker, it looks like.
No return on the punt. There's a flag on the play.
And that'll give the coach something to stew about right there. Ali Sharif may be the man guilty of the infraction, as we'll look at it again. Is it a penalty or an Academy Award performance? You be the judge.
Alabama's.
Oh my goodness. May have clipped the ankle. No, it did get him underneath. I'm sorry. I thought it was Sharif coming by up high that caused him to go down, but it looked like he got hit low.
The penalty's declined. First down. Timeout.
We'll check it after the break and see if we can see who is guilty of the penalty. Nonetheless, Western Carolina will turn possession over to Alabama. An awful lot to smile about for Crimson Tide fans. They lead Western Carolina 24-3 early in this third quarter. John Parker Wilson, the junior quarterback out of Hoover, Alabama, led his team to a couple of state titles, playing for Coach Rush Probst, the Buccaneers, trying to build towards a championship team for the University of Alabama. Great rookie campaign, as we told you. Threw for over 2,000, threw for over 2,700 yards last year. One of only 7 Alabama quarterbacks to throw for 2,000 plus in a single season. Nick Saban hoping that Wilson, along with some veteran and very talented young receivers, along with hopefully a stronger running game, will prove to see Alabama move the ball very effectively on offense this year.
First and 10 at the 27.
From the 27, Wilson under center, rolling, looking. He's got his tight end. That's Walker. He's got about 7 yards before being shoved out of bounds, and there's a couple of late flags coming in.
There's a flag on the play.
Michael Shaw
Following
getting
the
a start
play,
at the Buck
dead ball,
linebacker.
personal foul, 42 of the defense, hit out of bounds. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
This little job of rolling the pocket here for Wilson.
It sure was. And Alabama, that's a great call here on first down coming out in the second half. Alabama having so much success running the football. Anytime you're able to do that, the play action just works beautifully.
First down
First and 10
after the penalty. So from the 45, Bama will have it with first and 10 once more. Johns on the carry. And the junior, again, a former Mr. Football in Mississippi, Brookhaven native. 6'2", 227, and it's rock solid. But he's not able to get any yardage there.
Like he really couldn't find a place to run the football. You saw him up there trying to sniff a hole, just wasn't able to find one.
"13 minutes to go in the third quarter. Bam with the ball for the first time in this second half of play. Wilson on play action all day. Now he'll tuck it and run. Trying to get to the sideline. Gets a big block at the end of that play. Delivered by DJ Hall. Wide receivers like to hit every now and then too, don't they?
Only in this type of scenario it does appear on these comebacks. John Parker Wilson trying to work the ball downfield, doesn't have a throw, does a smart thing and pulls it down. And here you see DJ Hall come back. That's what every wide receiver dreams of.
A decleater, if you will. But you've got a lineman down for Western Carolina across the way. Play unrelated to that hit. As the training staff will come on and attend to the injured player. Good to see Jeff Bradley get up. So apparently not too severely injured. But Alabama facing third down at about 7. Haven't seen many of these situations in the first half. Again, P.J. Fitzgerald only 1 punt in that first half. They've got Jimmy Johns, one of 4 wideouts. He's to the top of your picture. As they go from the empty set. Wilson, blitz coming, unloads it, pass complete, Hall out of bounds, first down. Wilson, more importantly, hops up, he's fine.
A lot of poise in the pocket that time by John Parker Wilson. A lot of pressure coming to the right on the right side of the line. John Parker Wilson knows that he's going to get hit. Very patient in the pocket. Looks at defenders down the field. Finds DJ Hall for the first down.
Veteran receiver found the marker. Again, Play action. Wilson throwing, tight end. Walker, first down once more inside the 30. Spot him at the 29. Second time we've seen that play on this drive, and it has worked very well.
First down, Alabama.
Once again, the defensive line sucking there to the left. John Parker Wilson rolling to the right. And as you stated there, it's just an outstanding job by Walker. You see the speed come on as he's able to beat number 44, Chaz Jackson, for a nice gain.
Heard the talk in the preseason that tight end would be involved in the offense, and we have seen that here in this season opener. Johns changing direction, spinning, fighting his way inside the 25, down to the 24-yard line. Michael Shaw wrapping up to make the hit there. Haven't seen that a lot from Johns. It's been primarily running over people, but showing now in 2 years of being a running back, he's learning how to make the change, learning how to make people miss him before he decides to finally steamroll everybody.
Yeah, well, he's only, you got to remember, in high school he was a quarterback, so this has all been an adjustment to it, but one he's taken on very well.
Gains 5 on the play. McCall in motion. Play action. Wilson throwing, got a man, Hall, catch. Again, moves the chains inside the 15. They'll spot him at the 13. And Alabama knocking on the door once again. Chris Collins with a hit.
This receiving corps has done a great job tonight of just floating around, finding those pockets in this defense where they would sit down and make some nice receptions.
Little emotion from the junior quarterback. And Alabama's looked very efficient on this drive. Baron Huber in at fullback, running interference for Johns. He tries to bounce it to the outside, but not a lot of success there. May have lost a yard. Drew Walker, the Mike linebacker, the first man to wrap him up.
Jimmy Johns, tackled by Drew Walker.
And we'll see Glenn Coffey check into the game for the first time with Johns checking out. Coffey 6'2", 225, the sophomore out of Fort Walton Beach High School, Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Injured most of last year. McCoy in motion. They'll give it to Coffey. He'll get inside the 5. He'll get to the goal line and be stopped just shy. They'll spot him inside the 1. A gain of 12 on Glenn Coffey's first carry of the year. And he's a young man they were so excited about a year ago when he came in.
Well, a lot of people coming into this season said tailback was, we had a good one in Terry Grant. We knew Jimmy Johns could run the ball, but we didn't know past that. Well, the only reason we didn't know past that is because we had a lot of players get hurt last year. Glenn Coffey is a prime example.
Preston Dial in as one tight end. They'll go to Coffey on the give. He'll go off the left side, and he'll go into the end zone for another Alabama touchdown. Glenn Coffey with the score, and Alabama leads it now 30-3.
Power football once again behind that left side. You see Huber lead the way, not a soul to block. Glenn Coffey does a great job of just following them in.
Lee Tiffin on to try his 4th extra point of the night. Snap, hold, and kick. They're all good. And Alabama awfully sharp to start the 3rd quarter. 31-3 as John Parker Wilson has helped Nick Saban's squad gain a big lead. 31-3 your score, 3rd quarter. With Tyler Watts and Barry Krause, I'm Chris Stewart. So glad you're with us here on Crimson Tide pay-per-view. 10 plays, 73 yards, just over 3 minutes is all it took. Glenn Coffey, his 2nd carry of the drive, resulting in Alabama's 4th touchdown of the night.
Lee Tiffin to kick off for Alabama.
Lee Tiffin, who's been busy on kickoffs, field goals, and extra points, handling those duties once more. Mike Malone's been busy on the receiving end. It has been all Alabama in this one. As Tiffin's kick will carry to the 5. Malone looking for room. Changes direction and is finally brought down at about the 25-yard line. Chris Rogers with the stop. for the Crimson Tide. Here's some SEC scores today. Florida, 49-3 winners early against Western Kentucky. Ole Miss hangs on to beat Memphis by a couple. Kentucky with Andre Woodson at quarterback, no problem against the Colonels of Eastern Kentucky. Good start for Georgia in the third quarter of that one in Athens. And Arkansas getting a tough game as expected by many against Troy, while Vanderbilt holds a commanding lead against Richmond in the third quarter in Nashville. Boy, more of a battle than Gamecock fans thought for South Carolina against Louisiana Lafayette. And Auburn also in a struggle against Kansas State. That's not a surprise either in the first half of that one at Jordan-Hare Stadium. And a good ball game taking place out west as Tennessee and Cal deadlocked at 14 in the second quarter there. Our game started fast. Bama took the opening kickoff. A great return by Javier Arenas put Alabama at the Western Carolina 48. First play from scrimmage, Terry Grant ran about 80 yards, covering 48, and giving the Tide the early lead. Bama would score touchdowns on 3 of its first 5 possessions, points on 4 of those first 5. To give to Willie Harper, but not much running room. Zeke Knight, former wideout, converted linebacker, making the stop. See Brandon Dedrick in there now, 6'4", 286, a sophomore out of Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Dedrick, big number 95 for Alabama. Second and about 10 for Tide Spitzer, working under center. He's the starter. Did not play the last 2 series of the first half, as Adam Hearns got some playing time. He was not able to produce any yardage or points. So Coach Kent Briggs goes back to his starter. He'll dump it off, and a huge hit leveled by Brandon Fanning. Big number 98 for the Tide, the linebacker for Alabama, making the stop. 6'4", 240 out of Morristown, Tennessee, and Hargrave Academy.
Western Carolina took a lot of time at the line of scrimmage before they called this play. And Simeon Castile does another outstanding job, as you saw right here. He's going to want to take a lot of credit for knocking him on his back, but he got a lot of help from Vanny.
He got the deflection. He didn't get the hit. He was in position, but that's a good guy to have by you right there. 3rd down and 6 upcoming with under 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. Alabama up big, 31-3. Spitzer changing the play at the line of scrimmage, working from the gun with 3 wideouts. Short drop, looking, throwing, the slant broken up. Great play. Lionel Mitchell, we're going to call him for pass interference. Must have had the backhand, the left hand on the receiver as he reached through with the right to make the deflection. Matt Austin, again, our referee. Fairly busy night.
Pass interference, defense number 16. Ball will be placed in the spot of the foul, automatic first down.
Let's look at it, see where the backhand is, Tyler, the left.
That's such a tough play for a defensive back, because anytime you extend your arm, the natural thing to do is just to rest it on that back. You see, he didn't hold the hands down or anything. A lot of times you would consider that a picky call, but defensive backs are not allowed to touch it all.
1st and 10 from the now 36-yard line for Western Carolina, their own 36. Bama showing blitz. Harper on the carry. Not much room. Got a yard, maybe 2 at the most. Lionel Mitchell, who came in from the corner, along with Keith Saunders, combining on the stop.
And this is something Saban has always really liked to do, bring the weak side safety or the weak side corner to the short side of the field. With pressure, quarterbacks have a really difficult time in picking up on that, and that's something that changes up the look, adds a little bit more pressure in the backfield, but that time defensive front just did an outstanding job.
Toss to Harper, trying to get to the corner, picks up a couple, getting to the 40, across now to the 41-yard line. Darren Mustin, the senior linebacker, helping on the play. Mustin, 6'2", 235 out of Brentwood, Tennessee. Went to Middle Tennessee out of high school, signed with them. Decided he wanted to walk on at Alabama. He didn't have great numbers at MTSU. but said, I want to play for the best. That's in the SEC. That's at Alabama. Earned a scholarship coming into this season.
And those are the guys, the walk-ons that earn the scholarships. You know you can count on them.
Nick Saban had a scholarship open. Darren Mustin meeting with his dad, said, do we need to go get some more loans to pay for the senior year? He goes in and talks with the coach. Nick Saban says, you've earned it. We got you covered. So the scholarship given to the former walk-on, and he has done a nice job in preseason camp and in this game. Mustin making another stop, but not until Harper picks up the first down for the Catamounts.
First down, Western Carolina.
Actually, it wasn't Mustin on the stop. It was Zeke Knight, 4'7", who got the hit there. With the Tide. See the Catamounts in their half of the field an awful lot in this one. I'm going to guess that on that play, Chris Huffman is going to pull to his right. What do you think?
70 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Called for procedure there. Was when you're 6'1" to 300 and you flinch, people are going to see it. When you take 2 steps, everybody in Tuscaloosa County is going to know. So the procedure penalty backs it up, 1st and 15. Again, one of the few flags, though, that have been thrown on Western Carolina in this ball game, about the 3rd or 4th. They have not played all that poorly. Alabama just very solid, very efficient. Catamounts trying to build something positive after a winless Southern Conference record a year ago. Quick pass to the left side and great coverage by Alabama. That's a lot of people swarming the football. Saban Castile was there in coverage, but you had a lot of red hats around him.
Yeah, this Alabama defense, especially here in the 3rd quarter, has done an outstanding job of really just flying to the football. Western Carolina hadn't had much success. What's ironic is the fact that we were all expecting this big spread offense, and about the only success that they've had has been running the football between the tackles.
Under 6 to go in the 3rd, 2nd and a bunch. First down markers at the Alabama 41, the line of scrimmage, the Western Carolina 44. Spitzer to work from the shotgun. They'll roll the pocket. He's got plenty of time. He's got a man, and it's complete to Eddie Cohen, who gets into Alabama territory, but they'll still have 3rd and long to go for the first. Castile, another hit.
Yeah, this is just a 2-man route for Western Carolina. As you see Spitzer rolling out. Initially it was open, then he got covered up by Simeon Castile, and then he came open once again.
3rd and 6.
3rd and 6 they'll call it. Again, the line to make, the 41 of Alabama. 5:17 time on the clock. 3rd quarter, Alabama leading at 31-3. Season opener for these 2 squads. The Tide fans who have been spectators now becoming a little more active on this 3rd down play. Heavy pressure. Knight chasing him. Knocks the ball loose. It's on the ground. Who's going to come up with it? Still scrambling. Knocked out of bounds. And possession will go back to Western Carolina. But even though he's bulked up, you see the speed of Zeke Knight that had him as a wideout when he came to Alabama.
I was just going to say, all he's running right here is a 5-yard out, chasing Spitzer in the process, and that's a battle that he's going to win every time. Great hustle on that play by Ezekiel Knight.
Did not have the hand going forward, so the ball knocked loose. It is a fumble. And they may discuss this one, but I don't think they will. 4th down upcoming. And let's see if this one will indeed be under review. I think that is what Kent Briggs is asking for.
Western Carolina coach has called a timeout to review the play. The quarterback's arm is moving forward.
May be wrong, but at first glance on the replay, Tyler, I don't think he had it going forward. I think Knight got there early.
Didn't look like it. Looked like he was in the process of trying to throw, but until, like you said, until that arm starts going forward, it is going to be a fumble.
Pretty good angle right here.
I think he has every right to be upset with the fact that was called a fumble. I think that's extremely close, and this one might be overruled.
See, I think that's just the old quarterback in you coming out, because I didn't think he had it going forward in time. I thought he got it blocked while he still had it.
I think the telltale sign, though, is going to be they're going to see that follow through, and they're going to see that arm going forward. Whether or not it did, whether or not the ball was tipped while it was all the way back extended, I think they're going to think he was in the process of throwing the football.
Big positive for Alabama in this game defensively, Tyler. Not only the score, not only the fact you have kept Western Carolina in check. One break early Alabama did get was a penalty downfield, bringing back what would have been a 67-yard score. I think would have tied the game at the time or made it 14-7. But nonetheless, we've called the names of people Alabama needed to step up coming into this year, Ezekiel Knight being one of them.
It'll be 4th down for Western Carolina. Western Carolina will be charged a timeout.
So after all that, it will be a timeout charged to Western Carolina. But we've called the name of Lorenzo Washington a lot. We've talked about Darren Mustin a lot. Rolando McClain, a freshman you expected to call, but yet he has stepped up and played big. Nice to see those guys play in this first game. The coaches will determine if they played well, but we have at least called their names quite a bit in what seems to be a positive way.
And I guess from a spectator's point of view, that's all you can really hope for is the opportunity to notice a bunch of different players, a bunch of different numbered jerseys, flying around the ball, making plays. And I think that breathes a sigh of relief for a lot of these guys wearing crimson and white in the stands, knowing that there is some hope for this season.
6th punt upcoming for Brown on the night. He's averaged better than 36 yards per kick. Another low snap, another near block. Maybe the best kick of the night. Sends Coffee back. And still plenty of running room. Check that. Excuse me. Jonathan Lowe. That's 3-0, not 3-8. Lowe had a great 8A game in the return game. Late joining the team in preseason camp, but he's here tonight. Makes a nice return with 5 to go in the quarter. 31-3, Alabama leading Western Carolina here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network with Tyler Watts and Barry Krause. I'm Chris Stewart. A lot of smiling faces for the Crimson Tide fans as Nick Saban's debut has been about as good as you can script. This is something, though, you never like to see as they're bringing one of those emergency medical carts out onto the field. But another capacity crowd, 92,318 in attendance. That's the unofficial number. Still waiting on that official count. We'll probably have it for you early in the 4th, but right now they've gotten very quiet as John McDarris, the snapper, is going to be carted off the field here momentarily. Got quite a few names missing from last year's team, Tyler, that played such a big part in Alabama's offense. Ken Darby, one of the all-time leading rushers in Alabama history. The 2 big running backs, Tim Castile, Ron McClain moving on, but a lot of guys have stepped up nicely. Prince Hall, the only returning linebacker, and he missed this ball game due to a suspension because of violation of team rules. But a lot of new faces, a lot of inexperienced guys, I guess I should say, underneath the name of Prince Hall. You see there, those running backs, only 166 career rushes coming in.
But look at how many times already this evening we've called one of their names. It's always good to have a bunch of players filling in a short amount of gaps.
Have not called the name of Upchurch as John McDarris gets a nice round of applause from the Crimson Tide fans. Got him on the stretcher now, and never a good sign. But the University of Alabama with an outstanding medical staff, trainers and doctors, as good as you will find anywhere, and sharing their assistance right now with the Western Carolina University trainers as well. Unfortunately, that cart has been used here too many times over the last several years at Bryant-Denny Stadium, but very fortunate to have it available to us when needed. Tide fans showing their concern also for McDarris's well-being. The long snapper, 6'4", 290, a sophomore out of Brevard, North Carolina, Brevard High School. And we wish him the best. Nick Saban, the Alabama head coach. Very active during games. You say he doesn't smile. Come on. He has been warmly received, has Coach Saban, as McDarris exits the field. And you get a look at Greg McElroy, the 6'3", 218-pound redshirt freshman out of Southlake, Texas, Carroll High School. Put up some incredible numbers there. And sees his first action in the Alabama backfield. The give again to Glenn Coffey. He gets it across the 40-yard line. But Nick Saban, his wife Terry, entire Saban family, been extremely well received, to say the very least, not just when they first arrived, but throughout the 9 months now, I guess, that they have been at the University of Alabama. Very active in the community. A charitable standpoint, as well as spending overtime trying to build Alabama's program back to the level that he expects from his teams and Alabama fans expect from theirs.
I don't think there's any question about it. It was really just the perfect fit at the right time. You have a perfectionist running the program now at a time when Alabama was just coming off the probation years. Previous coaching staff did an absolutely outstanding job with what they had at that period of time. I don't think anybody could have done any better. But now, given the opportunity, I think this program is definitely heading in the right direction.
I think that's the big thing for Alabama fans. They know that some success can come this year, but they are looking to the future. Nikita Stover making the grab across the middle. Nice dump off there from McElroy as Stover gets the first down. That's part of what we've heard the coach talk about. It's great to have the goals, but make sure that along the way everything you do is building towards that. You can talk about winning, but there are a lot of things that have to take place before you can.
Yeah, that's the end result. There's countless hours and so many things that factor into it that you have to focus and concentrate on.
Just to see his guys play every play. Glenn Coffey hadn't played many, but he's been pretty good in the ones that he has been in for. Already a touchdown run, a 12-yard carry, and then another 12 yards right there. And Alabama's continuing to move the chains.
It's a great cut this time by Coffey. There you see Phillips get fooled to the outside as he busted up the middle. It's another great run.
Still see those first-team linemen out there. Smith and Johnson at the tackles, Britt Davis at the guards, and Antoine Caldwell at center, giving McElroy a chance to work behind a veteran line. Dumps it off to Travis McCall, and he will fight to get close to that first down yardage. Stays in bounds as Carlton Bailey brings him down. Under 3 minutes to go in this third quarter. This is exactly what you wanted in this game. The offense looked very efficient, the defense very solid, and you've allowed some of these other guys to play, younger guys that do indeed need experience. Get your first team guys, or at least your skill guys, out of there. But I like the move by the coach to let this backfield, this quarterback, work with the first team offense. Play action. McElroy dumping it off to Huber out of the backfield. The Bama fullback getting near the 20-yard line before being pushed out of bounds, and that will be enough for the first down there. Miko Watson making the hit.
This is a good call right here on 2nd and short. Alabama's been pounding the ball up the middle, and you know that Western Carolina's expecting it once again. Huber's been leading the way. Why not try to slip him out in the flat and see if you can pick up some big yardage?
Huber, 6'2", 224, escaped from Knoxville, Tennessee. He likes the crimson a lot better than the orange. Timeout called by the Catamounts. Alabama's quarterback's perfect in the second half. Wilson 4 for 4, 37 yards. McElroy 3 for 3 for 22. And the thing you get the impression about from Nick Saban as he visits there with Joe Pendry, the Crimson Tide assistant head coach who works with the offensive line. He loves to teach. Nick Saban loves to teach, loves to coach. He was asked in his first or second press conference about what it's going to take. What's your observation, your analysis of your players? He said, I don't know. I don't care yet. I'm going to teach them first. That's what he wanted to do with spring practice, with preseason camp. I want to teach them, coach them the best we can. If that's not good enough, we'll go get better players. But right now, in this building process, he wanted to teach these guys, and that's the part you can tell he loves more than anything else.
Well, I think a lot like just saying, hey, we're going to go win a championship. A lot of times we forget, well, what gets us to that point? What gets us to running the perfect play? It all comes back down to the fundamentals and running things, taking it to the bare bone minimum of a movement and working on that over and over and over.
Coffee again up the middle, spinning free from one tackler, and he gets to about the 15-yard line. Michael Shaw again on the stop.
Michael Shaw made the tackle for Western Carolina.
Kind of like what you've seen from Coffee again out of Fort Walton Beach, Florida.
2nd and 5.
He's the third halfback Bama has used. Third tailback has looked awfully good. Play action, another bootleg, another look to the tight end, another completion. Walker changing direction, showing some elusiveness. Gets it inside the 10, moving the chains, gets it to the 8-yard line. Chris Collins saving the touchdown right there. Walker's one of those guys that had bulked up. When Nick Saban got here, he said, I want you taking weight off. Wanted him a little more lean, a little more agile, a little more quickness, and it's paying off.
I don't think there's any question about it. We've seen him throughout the course of this night on these bootlegs really be able to turn on another gear and be able to get open. There you see the cut. With that extra weight, he's not able to do that.
People talk balance. 219 yards on the ground. 219 or close to it on the ground, plus those 219 passing. Glenn Coffey brought down right at the 1-yard line.
Just can't say how impressed I am with the running backs, though, on how quickly they're hitting the hole. Whenever you're running downhill and getting back to that line of scrimmage, you never know what's going to happen. A lot of successful teams are successful simply because they hit the hole so quick.
Preston Dial, the tight end in motion. McElroy, play action, looking, throwing, pass, caught, Walker, touchdown. What a throw by McElroy. What a catch by the Alabama tight end, and the Tide extends its lead. It's 37-3. If McElroy had any jitters, he didn't show them on that drive.
No, he didn't.
5 for 5 and a touchdown.
I know in the spring game, didn't see much of a drop-off. I thought McElroy came in and did an outstanding job. And once again, you can tell a quarterback just how comfortable he sits in the pocket.
Lee Tiffin on with another extra point. He had some options besides Nick Walker. He may have thrown it to the guy who was most covered.
I don't think there's any question. He just wanted to show everybody, look, I can make this throw. You saw Huber wide open in the flat, and if there is a correction to make on a touchdown pass, it's why not take the easier one.
That's what Huber was looking for. He goes, hey, I'm not going to get many of these. That's a rarity, too. The starting quarterback being able to watch from the sidelines in the third quarter of a football game. Alabama's had too many close games the last couple of years in situations like this where people expected them to win big, had to play the starters deep in the ball game.
Oh, absolutely, because they're being held at the goal line or not being able to punch it in and widen the gap near enough. One thing I liked about that shot, though, you saw John Parker with the headphones on. He's staying in the game. And I think anytime you get up, a lot of times it's a tendency of these players to get lackadaisical on the sideline and not be into the game, keeping up with what's going on.
Wilson, although he's a third-year quarterback, second year as the starter, first time with his system. He's still learning just like everybody else, but it looks like the students are picking it up pretty nicely so far.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he has no more experience with what Coach Saban and this offensive staff is wanting or expecting out of them than the left guard or the right tackle or anybody else.
Tell you what, they've spread the wealth. Balanced on the ground, balanced with the rushing and passing, and also who they've given the football to. 9 players have caught a pass tonight in this Alabama offense. Tiffin kicking it off again. It'll be Malone running it down and then dropping the football and then getting bumped out of bounds. Good coverage again by Alabama. There's Mike Malone. Returns it 5 yards, and with just 29 seconds to go in this third quarter, Alabama commanding 38-3 lead.
Last drive is exactly what we wanted also. Very balanced, as we talked about over and over. But being able to run the football, pick up 4 or 5 yards at a time, run the play action. No need to really have to push the ball downfield. But they're executing well. They're doing their assignment. They're doing their job. That's something to look forward to.
It's like Todd Spitzer's night may be done. Adam Hearns back in at quarterback for the Catamounts. Number 4, the sophomore from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He'll give it to Harper. Trying to get to the corner. Ball came loose, but until he got out of bounds. Rashad Johnson there on the stop.
You know that when Derns comes in, it's going to be a run, at least it has to this point. Western Carolina has actually had a little bit of success, more than we probably would have liked to have seen running between the tackles.
Alfred McCullough, number 52 in the ball game for Alabama defensively. A freshman, 6'2", 317, out of Athens High School, Athens, Alabama. As the big hit is level there. Rashad Johnson again, the junior out of Sullivan. Making another hit. The only thing Tide fans don't like, they're getting picky now, is they're knocking them out of bounds. They'd rather see them stay in bounds and make the clock run. But
As you had touched on earlier, though, this work that these second team guys are getting now, it's so important, and it's going to pay off because this is a contact sport. Somebody's going to get hurt, as we saw last week with Motley throughout the course of this year. And this football team is going to rely on these people out on the field right now to come in and be able to perform.
They're mixing the first and second line guys in because everybody's trying to learn. There's a busted coverage right there. And a big tight end getting open. Travis Osborne was an intended receiver earlier in the game at 6'3", 245, the redshirt sophomore from Maiden, North Carolina. Finally brought down by Ali Sharif, but not until he picks up first down yardage with 1 second to go in the quarter.
I guess it was in the second quarter. Western Carolina ran a play very similar to this where they were able to slip the tight end out on a little out route, and it really worked well then. First time they've come back to it since, but they have found something with that tight end going on the corner route.
So they get the ball to midfield, 1st and 10. Again with 1 tick left on the clock in this third quarter. Bama on top, 38-3. Bama showing blitz, and they do. The Catamounts pick it up, looking deep. They got a man there. Pass is caught. Eddie Cohen making the grab. Did he stay in bounds? Yes, he did. Third quarter comes to a close with the Catamounts with a big play, one of the few they have had in this half. Alabama's dominated. They led it 24-3 at the half. They've stretched out to 38-3. John Parker Wilson all smiles as the Tide is rolling. Part of the Tyler Watts fan club enjoying themselves at Bryant-Denny Stadium on a night in which the Tide had scored on its first play from scrimmage. Talked about Rolando McClain being a key player in this matchup. Nick Saban has seen his squad be as balanced as you can be offensively and very productive. Not just moving the football, not just putting up yardage, putting points on the board as well.
I don't think there's any question about it. And the offensive line has really come on here in the third quarter and hope to continue that going into the fourth.
What will the defense do, though, as they begin the fourth quarter? Western Carolina with possession inside the 20. And no gain on the play. In fact, they lost one or two. Lorenzo Washington making the stop. Again, nose guard, one of the question marks in this three-man Alabama front. How would Alabama look up the middle? Nose guard and at the Mike linebacker. So far, so good, at least from these untrained eyes. Coaching staff will share their thoughts next week, but I know most of all they're glad to have this first game take place, see somebody else rather than just crimson against white. With time, pass across the middle, caught. First down yardage, no, excuse me, that's going to be a gain of about 5 on the play. Eddie Cohen, who's been pretty successful on that slant a few times tonight.
And once again, we ran a backside corner blitz. Any other play call except for just a little quick catch it and throw it slant pass, and we're going to have a big play in the backfield.
Hearns at quarterback. Seeing action his third series of the night. Played the last 2 series of the second quarter and has come on and done a nice job here. A few folks have left. The students running interference for the rest of the crowd, but a lot of people still here. Bama with the blitz, pass overthrown, intended for the wide out of the near side, Markel Pittman.
Out of bounds and incomplete.
Coach Kent Briggs' team coming up empty there, and they'll have to settle for a field goal try. Ali Sharif, who was a running back a year ago, moved to the secondary. It's ironic. Nick Saban had recruited him as a defensive back when Saban was at LSU. And he winds up signing with Alabama as a running back. Saban moves him back to the secondary. Thought about moving him back to the backfield again. Sharif said, no, I like it here. I like hitting people. He's done a nice job for Alabama in preseason camp. Jonathan Parsons on to try his second field goal of the night. Converts on that one.
A 30-yard field
on 30 yards out, and that makes it a 38-6 ball game. The Bama defense bends, gives up some points, but keeps Carolina out of the end zone. 38-6, Alabama still a commanding lead despite the field goal from Western Carolina with Tyler Watson. Barry Krause, I'm Chris Stewart. Taking a look at the Charter Business stats, third quarter numbers. The team number's pretty impressive. A lot of those yards coming from a couple of individuals. Terry Grant, 18 carries, 134 net rushing yards, 3 touchdowns all in the first half. Also John Parker Wilson, 17 of 25, 189 yards, no picks. Longest pass he's completed, 20 yards, but Bama just picking them apart so far.
I think that's what's encouraging about it is we're not seeing all this yardage come on 4 big plays. They have been nice, sustained, balanced drives that have taken this team from one end of the field all the way down to the other.
Jonathan Lowe, the deep man for Alabama, fielding it at his 8, looking for running room, eludes one tackler and one teammate. Now a flag comes in as he shakes free to the 35-yard line. This one's going to come back. Jonathan Lowe, again for the Crimson Tide, listed as a running back, but primarily used in return situations this year for the Tide. 5'7", 180.
During the return, holding number 6 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Again, had to miss the majority of preseason camp because of academic issues. But Tyler, he had a very, very good spring for Alabama. Really a star in the A-Day game. And once he was able to join his teammates, has had a nice start to this season as well.
And you can never have too much depth at any position, and Alabama is no different than anyone else. And if a good player is out there, you'll find a way to get him on the field.
Greg McElroy back on after going 5 for 5 on his first series at quarterback. Preston Dial, the tight end, The give is once more to Glenn Coffey, bouncing it to the outside and getting first down yardage and a bunch more. Another late flag coming in as we're seeing some new faces on that offensive front for Alabama. Let's see who this one's going to be whistled on.
Personal foul, face mask, 16 of the defense, 15-yard penalty at the end of the run, automatic first down.
Look at it again.
It's all about the push up front. Able to spring it to the outside, and there you see the face mask right there, and he did grab a hold of it and didn't let go, so that will be a 15-yard penalty.
So Antoine Caldwell's night is done as we'll see Evan Cardwell in at center for the Tide. The give to Coffey once more. Running room on the outside. It's a nice block from Mike McCoy on the corner to get the additional yardage needed for another first down. B.J. Stabler in at one tackle for Alabama, but they run it to the left side here for a 13-yard carry.
Great job that time of just bouncing it out, and once again an outstanding job on the offensive line. New face at tight end as well, number 85, Preston Dial, doing a nice job on that last play.
David Ross, redshirt freshman out of Homewood, at right guard for Alabama. Chris Capps in at left tackle. New left guard we'll tell you about in a moment as well. They'll dump it off to Coffey this time. Great change of direction, looking for a block. Gets knocked down at the 5-yard line, finding different ways of getting it in the hands of your playmakers.
You got to love it. This is building the confidence of McElroy as well. As you said here, just a little screen pass. Nothing more. We're going to take advantage of your aggressive rush. You see Coffey slip out right there, follow his blockers, and the field vision is incredible. You can see him here, nice strong legs, able to break through tackles. You know that he doesn't want to come out after sniffing the goal line.
William Vallejos in at left guard, young man I referred to a moment ago, freshman out of Mountain Brook. Dial shifting to the left side at tight end. McElroy, the give to Jimmy Johns, looking for the end zone. Finds it, or does he? No, they'll spot him down at the half-yard line.
Jimmy Johns, near the one.
So it'll be second and goal from there.
Right up the middle, and this is what Jimmy Johns is best at, is just running over people. Full steam ahead.
Baron Huber in at fullback. Johns dotting the I. McElroy under center behind Evan Cardwell. On the straight give, touchdown Alabama. Jimmy Johns walking into the end zone as the Tide makes it a 44-6 lead with 11:05 to play. Tyler, it's what many people may have expected, but it is so great to see for Tide fans.
It's definitely
dominating effort.
Definitely not a disappointing feeling right now if you are an Alabama fan. You wanted to see an absolute domination of this football game, and to this point, Alabama has delivered.
Lee Tiffin to try another extra point. Good hold from Fitzgerald. He's missed a field goal, but he's been perfect on extra points tonight, is Tiffin. And Jimmy Johns looking strong. Assistant coach Joe Pendry teaching him. Well done, young man. All smiles for the Crimson Tide faithful. 45-6. Alabama looking awfully strong. Jimmy Johns, third running back to score a touchdown tonight. 5 plays, 86 yards, 2 minutes, 13 seconds. They're not throwing it deep down the field, but they're running it down there pretty quickly.
And it has not taken many times that run the ball for them to get it down the field. That is the truth.
That's a stat right there that Tide fans will absolutely love. 5 of 6 with only one of those 5 being field goals. Actually, yeah, that's right. 1 field goal out of the mix in red zone situations. Tiffin to kick off again. Malone once more to return. Takes it at the 10. Gets across the 25 before being tripped up. Corey Reamer making the stop. That's a good sign for Alabama, as Reamer, sophomore, who missed a lot of last year. In fact, I believe the entire season with an injury. 6'4", 223 out of Hoover High School. Back in the secondary for the Crimson Tide. And a special teams opportunity, but will stay in the ball game. And I said his night was done. That's why I'm not the coach. Todd Spitzer is back in at quarterback for Western Carolina. On play action, looking to throw. Now running for his life. Brought down on a nice stop by Brandon Fanny. Second time we've called his name. The sophomore out of Morristown, Tennessee, and Hargrave Military Academy.
Nice job this time of the Alabama secondary. Spitzer with absolutely nowhere to throw the ball. Wanted to do it right there. Had he done it, Alabama probably would have picked it off. Does a smart thing, pulls it down. Unfortunately for Alabama, it's a gain of about 4.
2nd and 6 from their own 32. 10.5 to go in this one. Bryant-Denny Stadium. So glad you're with us here on Crimson Tide pay-per-view with Tyler Watts and our sideline reporter Barry Krause. I'm Chris Stewart. The delay give. Some confusion. Davis able to actually get back to the line of scrimmage. May have gotten a yard or two, and that looked like utter disaster as the quarterback and running back banged into each other, but still able to make it into a positive play.
You know, but once again, Western Carolina really dodges a bullet by calling a play against the pressure that Alabama is bringing.
3rd and 5 upcoming for the Catamounts. The answer you've been waiting on all night is coming up next. What is a catamount? It's a creature indigenous to that part of the country. 3rd and 4. Spitzer, nice pass, nice grab. Catch made in heavy traffic by Marcus Brown. Little wide receiver able to reach up and make the catch to move the chains. According to Webster's Dictionary, a catamount is any various wild cat, such as a cougar or lynx. Cats of the catamount variety, including the bobcat, roam the southern Appalachian Mountains, where Western Carolina University is located, in the beautiful town of Cullowhee.
So if something gets after you, you don't have a clue what to call it. You just say, get off me, catamount.
I ain't waiting for an identification. I'm just running. One of the best athletes in the history of Western Carolina University now wears crimson. Little shuffle pass completed to Malone, as he is going to be brought down right at midfield. Judy Green, volleyball coach at the University of Alabama, was a 3-sport, 4-year letter winner at Western Carolina University. She was the setter on the volleyball team, point guard on the basketball team, and shortstop on the softball team. And not a surprise, all conference in all 3, and a member of the Western Carolina University Sports Hall of Fame.
And if you broadcast what year she lettered, I guarantee you'll get a swift kick to the shin.
I'm done. We will not talk about the year. But Judy Green, in 12th year as the head coach of the University of Alabama Crimson Tide volleyball program, as Mike Malone gets the carry there into Alabama territory, spotting it at the 49. That will be enough for another Western first down. Next week, Catamounts will travel to Eastern Kentucky, take on the Colonels, a solid 1AA team that got pounded pretty good tonight by Kentucky at last check. Then it's to Athens to face the Georgia Bulldogs. They will be so glad to get back home on the 22nd of September to face Presbyterian College, let me tell you. Bama's schedule gets much more difficult as well. We'll talk about that after this play. Heavy pressure, loose football. Bama's got it, I believe. Or did the Catamounts get back on it? Nope, Bama football. Spitzer fumbles it. And it was Alfred McCullough, the freshman, who came back up with it. May have been DeMarcus Waldrop that caused it.
Waldrop relentless on this play as you see him coming from the backside. Fanny, all of them fighting in there for it.
Two guys in crimson scrambling for the football. Bama, after what appears to be a comfortable victory tonight against the Catamounts, will then go to Nashville. That will not be easy, folks, at Vanderbilt Stadium next weekend. Then it's Arkansas and Georgia back here before heading to Jacksonville to take on Florida State. Houston, a tougher than average homecoming opponent as well. Roy Upchurch in the game, play action. Again, McElroy to throw, he's still perfect. Connects on that one to the near side, and the first catch of the ball game for the Crimson Tide as making the grab is Darius Hanks. You see the rest of the Bama schedule. Ole Miss, Tennessee, LSU on the 3rd of November should be interesting before finishing up with Mississippi State, Louisiana Monroe, and Auburn, and hopefully that's what the beginning of the season is for. Hope springs eternal, the birth of the SEC championship game. But first things first, Roy Upchurch on his first carry, shaking free from tacklers, and he gets good yardage. In fact, he gets a first down to the Western Carolina 36. Drew Walker with the stop.
Just a good hard run, picking the knees up, not allowing any ankle tackles.
And another injured Western Carolina player. They've had one player having to leave via the emergency cart. That was John McDarris, the long snapper. We've not gotten any word on his condition or his injury. But another player is down. Chris Collins, the injured player, the free safety. There you see the 113th season of Alabama football. 781. I feel pretty comfortable saying number 782 is just 747 away. 6th all-time on the Division I victories list. And the coach very happy, as you can tell, with what he's seen in large part from his squad. Not perfect, but solid, aggressive, attacking, and efficient tonight against the Catamounts.
And it ultimately just comes down to getting another win. Regardless of the week, there's going to be corrections to be made.
Will Oakley in the ball game for the Tide as the give goes back to Upchurch, right up the gut, keeps the legs churning, gets to the 25, and he'll be brought down there.
First down, Alabama.
Now is when you're really just starting to see an exhausted Western Carolina football team.
By the way, ain't many happy people in Ann Arbor. Add South Bend to the mix. 33-3, Georgia Tech defeating the Fighting Irish today.
That is a thump. That was close to a face mask, I thought.
It was, but Upchurch brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Nice stop made by Brandon Drumgoole. 6'6", 220 out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Transfer from Wake Forest. Second and 12 upcoming for the Tide. Oakley along with Hanks to the top of your picture. Earl Alexander, the lone wide out to the near side. With Upchurch, the setback. McElroy to throw. Completed. Caught one-handed, but for only a gain of about 3. Didn't get a lot of yardage. But with Walker making the stop, a gain of a couple. But McElroy still perfect. Is that like 8 for 8?
He
got some help here, though.
He sure did. What an incredible catch that time by Upchurch. And you say, oh, well, what's the big deal? He only gained 3 yards. What would have happened had he let that ball go? Had it tipped up in the air, could have been intercepted.
McElroy, 8 for 8, 72 yards. Biggest stat of the night, no picks for either quarterback so far. taking care of the football. No turnovers as of yet by Alabama. From the gun, McElroy on 3rd and long. With time. Looking. Wisely throws it away. That will go as an incompletion, but Nick Saban, I would think, will call that a pretty good play, Tyler. It's still keeping you in field goal range. You didn't turn it over and make a mistake, forcing something there.
It's the best incomplete of the night so far for this Alabama team, because like you just said, he didn't take his team out of another opportunity to put points on the board.
Lee Tiffin on to try a 40-yard kick.
This is big right here for the confidence of Lee Tiffin.
He missed one early. He has made a field goal and 1 of 3 lifetime in this range. Plenty of leg, but he hooked it wide left. He barely missed one outside the upright early, but hooks this one left. Still, the Tide leads it comfortably, 45-6 with 5:27 to go. 45-6, Alabama leading Western Carolina as we head to the final 5.5 minutes of this 4th quarter of action with Tyler Watts and Barry Krause. I'm Chris Stewart. 92,318 the capacity at Bryant-Denny Stadium. All the seats were sold. All of the tickets used, it appears. The official Bryant-Denny Stadium attendance for tonight's game, 92,318. ATIX is the proud sponsor of today's attendance, and ATIX says thanks to all ticket-holding Crimson Tide fans. Almost as big as an A-Day game, Tyler. Hearns back in at quarterback. Scrambling. Stays on his feet and then gets leveled. Corey Reamer again. He is so glad to be back on the field and have a chance to hit somebody again.
You got to know it. Moving around pretty good right now. You see him floating to the ball. Good job up front. The Alabama defensive front. There it is right there. And then kept his balance, kept him squared up and centered, and drove him down to the turf.
Some more new faces in the game for Alabama. Luther Davis, freshman defensive lineman in out of West Monroe, Louisiana. The first Louisianans that Coach Saban has signed for the Crimson Tide as Malone gets ridden out of bounds by Marcus Waldrop, but not until he picks up a first down. There are some things in this game. I know people will look at the score and say it's total domination, and it was, but I didn't think Western Carolina did anything to embarrass themselves. I just think Alabama's played well. They clearly have some speed. They have some guys that can make some plays, but a 1AA team coming off a winless conference record from a year ago, beaten soundly by an improved, clearly, Alabama team.
Well, there are some bright spots if you are a Western Carolina fan. They had several big plays coming down here on this, right there at the end of the 3rd quarter with a long throw and all. So, yeah, they have some things they can build on for the rest of the season.
Fumble on the play, scramble. Who's going to come out with it? Tide players say they have it. Most importantly, so does the referee, Matt Austin. Crimson Tide football. A couple of miscues we've seen late from the Catamounts, but they haven't made many.
And remind me in the upcoming weeks when it gets tough to brag on the opponent.
Worked out pretty well timing-wise, didn't it?
Just a bad center quarterback exchange that time. Ball gets on the turf. You know the defensive lineman is going to be fighting for it.
So the recovery made by Josh Chapman. Check that. Excuse me. 90, not 99. Milton Talbert making the recovery. Number 90 made the recovery there as Nick Fanuzzi sees action for the first time. 3rd quarterback to play for Alabama in this one. Fanuzzi, 6'3", 201, out of Churchill High School in San Antonio, Texas. Upchurch again on the carry. Fanuzzi, as we said, out of San Antonio. The young man putting up big numbers. Upchurch who did likewise in high school. Getting across the first down mark, being brought down at the 25. Fanuzzi ranked the 18th best dual threat quarterback in the country by Rivals.com. First team all-region selection in 2006. Ran and passed for over 1,000 yards in his senior year. Threw for 1,500 yards, 12 scores to go along with 182 carries for 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. Upchurch changing direction inside the 10, in the 5, in the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. 51-6 now your score with 3:23, a very appropriate time left on the clock.
This is just a matter of explosion, getting the ball, seeing that seam right there, keeping those feet and legs driving, falls into the end zone.
Tiffin ought to try another extra point. He boots another one through. A flag comes in late. We'll see if they wave it off or if we'll have to line it up again.
38 yards.
And we may indeed have to kick it once more.
Personal foul, roughing the snapper, 95 of the defense. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
That's a new one on me. Roughing the snapper. I've heard of roughing the kicker. There may be no more prone guy out there than the snapper in those long snapping situations. New on you as well, huh?
All I can remember is LSU and Auburn a couple of years ago. It ended up being the difference in the game on the extra point. Guy fell in the center. Here we see Upchurch once again. Nice drive with the legs, as you see right there. Finds that crease and just keeps fighting for the end zone.
Upchurch only 6 carries, but 55 yards and now a touchdown as well. You're right. I know the one you're talking about. So does the man on the Alabama sidelines now. Western Carolina and Alabama met here on September 18th of 2004. The Tide won the game 52-0. Lost Brody Croyle for the year, though, in the process. Alabama getting a chance to play 3 quarterbacks by design in this one. They had that opportunity because they looked so sharp in the first half and very early on that first series of the third quarter, Tyler. And that's why John Parker Wilson's able to smile and take the rest of the night off.
And that's what's so important, too. Get your starters out there. Make sure that they're getting their work done. Make sure that they're executing correctly. And then you move on to the next guys. Let's work them. Let's make sure that they know their responsibilities and their jobs. That way when they're forced into action later in the season, they produce.
You won't see that happen very often. The ball going through the end zone. But you tack 15 yards on it, let him kick from the 45, your chances are a bit better. You can tell that young man frustrated. Glad that his team won, but he's had 2 misses tonight on field goal attempts. The guy he's replacing right now, Jamie Christensen, talking to him, number 86 in street clothes, battling the leg injury that's sidelined him throughout a good bit of preseason camp. Hopefully he'll be able to get healthy and be in a position to challenge Tiffin. That young man has made some big kicks, and he will make many more before his playing days at Alabama are through. He will help this team beat somebody in a big game at some point. The delay give to Harper, nowhere to go. Once more stepping in to make the stop for Alabama, the freshman Alfred McCullough.
On the play, a 5-yard loss.
So they lose 5 on that one. Final 3 minutes of this one from Bryant-Denny Stadium. What will be a victorious night for the Crimson Tide.
Go the other way!
The straight give, and you can tell the Catamounts are wanting to run the ball, run the clock. Head back to Cullowhee, North Carolina, and get set. They still have a lot of work to do before they get into their conference schedule. Tyler mentioned the fact they've got Eastern Kentucky, Georgia Presbyterian before they go to Georgia Southern, which is no walk in the park either. Back in Southern Conference play.
Right now, I think they're just trying to get out of here without any more injuries. Just keep it clean. Continue to work on some things. Make sure people execute correctly.
3rd and long, quick slant. That one has worked too well tonight. Nick Saban, I know, not happy with that. That play has worked a lot. It actually went for a touchdown once, but a penalty downfield behind the play brought it back, and you never know how a touchdown there may have changed the complexion of this ballgame. If it's 7-7, which I think it would have been had that score stood, or 14-7 at the very least, you don't know how things could go. But Western Carolina held without points on that drive, having to take the touchdown off the board, and things just snowballing from there. Thankfully, in favor of the team in crimson. L.J. Davis on the carry, getting across the 35 to the 36. Second and 9 as they'll work from the gun. With a minute to go. The season opener, Alabama. Is 52 ticks away from a victory in Nick Saban's debut as head coach. They'll dump it off or try to Harper. Couldn't hang on to it. That'll set up 3rd and long. Hadn't heard that nearly enough.
I think it's funny, though, how we'll play that, but then we want to stop and be courteous as they're about to snap the ball.
Hearns to throw, now to run, and now to be brought down across the 35 to the 37-yard line. And Marcus Waltrip making another stop. Back up at the Mike linebacker behind Rolando McClain, but still a guy who will have to play a lot of snaps this year to help that thin Alabama defense.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to rotate in on the defensive side of the ball, just trying to find the best fits, the best personnel on the field, as well as just fresh legs, keeping people fresh, getting them, continuing to play hard.
4th down, 3 seconds, 2, 1, and that'll do it. They won't snap it. Clock will hit 0, and Alabama will celebrate a victory in game number 1 with Nick Saban as head coach. Most importantly, regardless of who's the head man, 1-0 on the season. A trip to Nashville awaits, but that can wait a little while. Time to celebrate a victory for the Crimson Tide. 52-6 over Western Carolina. We'll come back to wrap it up after this. Crimson Tide defense holds Western Carolina to 2 field goals. The Bama offense picks apart a 1AA opponent. It was not perfection, but it was what the doctor ordered as Alabama gets a victory in its season opener. With Tyler Watts, I'm Chris Stewart. Could have asked for a whole lot more, could you, for a first game?
I don't think so. It was absolutely clean. The offense did great. The defense did a nice job as well. No personnel problems as far as personal fouls or a lot of penalties. I thought it was a good, clean game. 9 or 10 different receivers caught passes. You got a chance to play 3 quarterbacks. They all looked sharp. All looked as though they could move the football. You appeared to get everybody out of here healthy. A nice way to build, but a lot of work to be done before you go to Nashville. Yeah, but now they actually got game film to go in and watch and make corrections on, and I think for these players that was big. Let's get the first game out of the way, let's make some corrections, and let's get into SEC play.
Let's take a look at some of the final numbers. Again, Alabama very balanced. 313 yards on the ground, 262 through the air, no turnovers. That stat may be as big as anything else.
And I really don't remember seeing the ball on the ground at all. So a great job of ball security by this Alabama offense.
Not too many penalties, a lot of yards, a lot of points, 575 and 52. Pretty good numbers, 1-0. Those are your Dreamland stats as Alabama picks up victory number 1 on the year. That's going to do it from Bryant-Denny Stadium. Again, Alabama looking pretty sharp. Now the real work begins going into SEC play.
That's right. We move on to Vanderbilt. Great day. Let's go play football.
Terry Grant with 100 yards by intermission, 3 touchdowns in his first start for Alabama. Several big hits. All in all, quite a debut for Alabama's new head coach. The Crimson Tide rolling up the 52-6 victory. For Tyler Watts, Barry Krause, and our entire Crimson Tide Sports Network crew, I'm Chris Stewart. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great night. Roll Tide, and good night from the Capstone.